I had a great nap.
You seem refreshed this morning.
4-ish. Quick game. Ended about 10 minutes faster than normal. The walk will wake you up, though.
Right.
When we're walking 2, it was 17. We were walking back, it was 13. It's 8 right now, if you're interested. I noticed you are dressed. I told you it was going to be a little chillier for you this morning.
It's 57.
See, I told you. So you're grumpy.
No, I'm fine. It was no breeze, so the 57 was nice.
Svita was miserable. My God, he lives in Philly, for God's sakes. He acted like he's never seen. I'm just heckling him the whole walk. Dude, what's your problem? It's cold. Got a hat on. He's got a ski mask on. I go, look at you. You're ready to rob a bank. Chill out. Come on. Why are we walking? Because if we're driving, we'll be stuck in traffic for an hour just to go 3/4 of a mile.
I got chastised by a guy at the gas station this morning because I had shorts on. He's like, "You're gonna freeze." I was like, "I just moved here from Michigan, so I'm still getting used to it." And then he just kind of chuckled and moved on. Yeah, I was like, "All right."
Did the Aikman laugh? No.
Yeah, something exactly like that. And then I was like, "Well, thanks for the comment." I don't know. Next year at this time, I won't be wearing shorts.
Yeah, you will.
Right, come on, you're young. The blood will still flow for a while.
You go what I do, the shorts and the hood and the polo.
Yes. It's funny, though, the reputation of Fargo, even to Minneapolis. Lady in the elevator. You boys cold? First of all, boys, we're all in our 50s. You boys cold? Not me, ma'am. I'm fat and I lived in Fargo for 5 years. She goes, oh, Fargo. Kind of like, oh, that's a whole other existence right there. Good morning, everybody. Man, look at this.
They want to hear your thoughts on last night's barn burner.
Here you go. That's my insight. Right there. Yes, that's right. Okay. We saw Iowa, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska.
It was definitely a Big Ten West game last night.
Would you rather watch the Big Ten West or watch that?
That was over in 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Yep. Although Big Ten West games go quickly.
Well, Iowa games do.
Well, they go quicker because they punt a lot.
Well, and they run a lot too.
Yeah,
They run a lot.
Of course,
Clock keeps going.
They do a lot of punting instead of kicking field goals or attempting field goals, and that also keeps the clock going.
One of the 5 worst games I've ever personally watched.
Hey, it might have been my worst. Might have been number 1.
Wow. Do you know, let's see, we've done 12 games. 12? Yeah. How many weeks? We've had 12 weeks, right?
Yeah, we've
done 12 games. 10 of the games decided by 6 points or less.
It doesn't make them good games.
No, I did. Did I say that?
Nope. I'm just
giving you a stat, and you're going, yeah, I don't mean squat. It's kind of how we work here at Millard Moulton. The other guy makes what seems to be a point. The other one goes, that ain't crap. Kind of like Trent this morning with the shorts on, and the guy, what are you doing? That's crap.
I'm used to people wanting to make conversation in the Midwest or whatever. I'm like,
oh, forget it.
Oh,
that's Florida, baby. That's done. You could go years if you want without talking to somebody. You could live next door to them and not know their name if you try. Trust me, I did it for years.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, man, he's so big on these cues.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. I know it's a little chillier this morning, no matter where you may be. I'll make you feel better. It's 8 degrees in Minneapolis. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
I'm better than you, apparently. Holy cow. It's Aikman in Minneapolis. It's 8?
It is. It's
Wow.
8. Yep. Mm-hmm. Although he's no longer here, but yes, he's still here. Right. No, Air Aikman, they got him home, 3-4 hours ago. Absolutely. But yeah, it's so funny. It's parts of the country are so different. The Vikings fan last night, walking out. Well, I guess we were due for a clunker, and I guess that's why he's been on, so many teams over the years. Tough one. Would have been nice to have. So you got any leftovers? All right. No. All right. How are things looking? You getting ready for Christmas? Honestly. Okay. Hotel bar. All right. Because we got back quickly. Wanted one beer before bed. One beer. All right. Guy in a Vikings jersey next to me looks at me, sees I still have the credential on. He goes, hell of a game you had to watch tonight, huh? I go, yeah, it's been better. A Bears fan with a Gale Sayers jersey pulls up next to him. He doesn't know the guy, puts his arm around him and says, you were due for a win. Congratulations. Minnesota nice. It's everywhere. Could you imagine it?
I can't relate. I honestly cannot relate. What's and I can't think of his name right now. It'd be better if I had the basketball player that transferred from Michigan to Kansas, got in some trouble because he said how much nicer Dickinson said how much nicer people were in Kansas than Michigan. And it bothered the Michigan fan. And he's like, no, this is Midwest nice. I get it now. And I read that and I didn't begrudge him for saying it. I went, oh, thank goodness, because I've been clumped into this whole mini Midwest nice, and we're not. Michigan's its own thing. They're not as nice as Minnesota people. They are genuinely nicer. That's great to see.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I mean, and the whole time, and of course, if you've been with us a while now, Joe's 2 spotters, and I'm called a spotter. The 3 of us hang together. We travel together. It's easier that way. And so we walked to and from the game last night. By the way, some people don't like 13 to 15 degree weather to walk about 3/4 of a mile in. All right. Some people are fine with it. Well, some people are fat. Okay. And they're okay with it. And besides, they've lived in this before. Man, oh man, the guy from Philly, man, he was falling apart last night. I'm like, dude, you have winter. Not like this. What are you talking about? Anyway, so he's from Philly. It's Sfida, Joe Stats guy. And I looked over at Safina and I go, if the Eagles had lost to the Bills yesterday, would they handle it like this? He's like, hell no. Horrible first half. I go, I know, 9-2. Tough to live with if you had lost. He goes, darn right. Now we're just a game ahead of the Niners and the Cowboys. The world is crumbling. I go, did you catch that conversation? He goes, yeah. No wonder they haven't won a Super Bowl. They're not nasty enough. All right. Need to demand more from their team. Whew. So there you go. The Bears. The Bears. Hey, even the guy in the Sayers jersey, I looked over at him. I go, win's a win. He goes, we needed a win no matter how ugly it was. We really did. I'm like, okay.
I guess the more draft capital the Bears can get, the better off they are. I mean, come on. Wins are penalties at this point for the Chicago Bears.
Well, see, here's how I'd look at it. If you're a Bears fan, Aren't you hoping that they find a way to turn it around? I mean, the Lions were 1-6 at one point last year. And remember, we got Carolinas. I mean, see, that's the thing, Mark. If you're a Bears fan, you're looking at that Carolina pick going, yeah, I don't think that pick's moving. That sucker looks like, I know they're only a game behind Arizona, but man, they are terrible. Hell, they just fired everybody. They're a disaster. I think we got the one. So to me, I think if you're Bears, aren't you playing with a little house money here? You already got the one, right?
Right up until the coach was fired, because I'd be afraid a little bit. Vegas fired their coach. All of a sudden, they strung a couple of wins together and look like they're a football team again. I would be nervous that they're going to play harder for the new coach and squeak out a win or two that they don't deserve. Because after all, David, they are in the NFC South, where wins are available.
Well, that's true. I mean, should Tampa be worried this week? Because that's who, the interim guys got, right? A lot of pressure on Tampa Bay this week. Come on, you got to win this week, right? Whew. But anyway, we'll get to that a little bit later. How about that? 2 coaches fired before December in the NFL. See, we're trading guys. We're firing coaches during the season. We're getting with the program here. This is how we do it in the other sports. Way to go, NFL. Way to go. All right. It'll be okay. No, really, the world continues to rotate the same way. Your organization's not going to be any better or worse. Actually, it could be better. It really could. Can't be worse. See, that's what you're realizing.
Oh, really?
Oh, sure.
Carolina can't be worse with that owner who's going through coaches like you go through
Snickers in the
Pepsi's on
morning.
the road.
Yes. I didn't even order any last night when I came back. I ordered, round 2 of the snacks for this morning, my breakfast. They threw in a couple of Diet Pepsis anyway. I said, no, I wanted a couple of waters. They're like, no, you're good. You've already spent like $132 at the snack bar. We'll just throw you in a couple. Minnesota, nice.
Minnesota, nice.
You guys know the Vikings lost, right? You're giving away free soda? Wow. Or do you call it pop here? Anyway.
That's right. You're having a pop in Minnesota, aren't you?
Well,
Minnesota.
I know in North Dakota it was a pop. Western Minnesota, it was a pop.
You're definitely having a pop.
Yeah, Michigan, it's a pop. Wisconsin, it's a pop. You're having a pop. You're not having
I'm having a pop. They threw in a couple pops for me. First time somebody called it a pop, I was looking around for my grandfather. Like, pop, what? Huh? What? And then I realized, oh, this is like being in the South and they just, calling everything a Coke.
Right. What
Got
kind of Coke
it.
would you like? Olive or Sprite?
Yes, exactly. What kind of Coke? I think a Dr. Pepper. Okay. Got it. So, a little adjusting this morning, but yeah, I will say, Mark, you're looking as if you didn't have a good enough week picking games. And we wondered why the spread was only 3 last night. Man, those guys in Vegas, even the gals, they really know what they're doing. And here's the other thing for the rest of the year. Just bet the under in the primetime games. Take a look at the numbers. Primetime games Thursday, Sunday, and Monday this year, the unders. It's staggering. It's like 80% the unders have hit in the primetime games this year. It's unreal. I have no idea what I was doing taking the over 43.5 last night. That was my thought during the first half last night. I go, well, Moulton, you're smart. People are going to forget about that 6-1 holiday weekend, telling everybody to take the over. My goodness.
If it's prime time, you're right, David. In this year, for the most part, unders have been the play.
Under.
Which one of you guys said you loved the over last night? Who was that?
That was me.
David said, I think
that was me. We're going to see some points last night. Hell, we're lucky if we saw first downs last night.
Saw turnovers, that's for sure.
Oh, my goodness.
Minnesota had 11 total first downs.
220 yards.
That's that's terrible.
Yes, it was. I'm hoping, I'm not taking credit, but I'm hoping, that Miller and Moulton can provide a service, a role in your life sometimes. And I'm hoping that many of you during the game last night at some point said, well, I can go to bed. I mean, Moulton's had it. if anything happens, and who knows, maybe Mark's staying up, but I'm going to bed. And I'm glad to find out before the show that half the show said, well, hell, Moulton's at it. I can go to bed.
Well, it put me to sleep once. I woke back up. The score hadn't changed.
Oh, come on. Really? We had
No,
to
I went from 3-0 to 3-3. I fell asleep 3-0 right around halftime. I woke up third quarter. It was 3-3. I sat there and I got myself awake, kind of, sort of, and I sat up on the couch and I'm watching the game going, man, I can't believe I fell asleep. And then I looked at the score and I went, why am I staying up for this? Moulton's at the game. This is Chicago and Minnesota. If it were the Bucks or if it were the Dolphins, if it was even the Jags, I'd stay. But for that, I didn't feel like I had to.
No. No, you do not. And so, to those of you, if you decided to pack it in at some point, I totally understand. Trust me, I wanted to. I asked. I did. I asked. For the record, I asked. Early fourth quarter, during a break, I turned to Aikman and I said, can I go home? And he looked and he said, no, I'm stuck here. You have to stay. And I go, well, how about if we go home? I go, you tell me you really want to stay for this. All right. He never really answered the question. So I guess we're staying.
Let me ask you. You've seen Fields now a couple of times. You've seen him maybe at his best, right? Didn't you see his terrific game last year? Didn't you see?
Yeah.
Can this guy play in the league? You've seen him up close and personal a few times now.
He's not consistent. So if you want consistency out of your quarterback, he's not your guy. There are times, Mark, in which he appears to have trouble seeing the field. Like he's barely 6 feet. And I think there are times where there are guys open in the middle of the field. And if he doesn't have a perfect pocket, he doesn't see them. Obviously, his dimension last night of being able to avoid the rush, and, it came in really handy at times. There were times the Vikings sent 7 and 6, and he avoided some really bad situations. But, Mark, I would trade him. I would draft a quarterback at 1, and I would trade him to Atlanta or wherever, and I would move on. I would.
I just wonder what the market is for him.
Considering how bad the quarterback play is in the NFL, I think they could get something for him. And if you're moving on from him, Mark, I mean, would, second round pick, take him? Take him. We got to move on. That's what I would do. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, people are all bent out of shape about it. I don't know why.
About what?
Oh, just a third-string quarterback from Michigan State that's transferring. I just didn't know who he was. I asked.
Here's the thing. Everyone's going to transfer. I've got buddies.
Tyler Van Dyke just announced he's transferring. Yeah. It's the times we live in.
And naturally, you're going to hear about all the transfers before you hear about who's coming in to follow Smith. So I don't know why everyone's getting bent out of shape. The sky's falling in East Lansing, I can tell you that.
Yep. It should be. The basketball team can't win a game.
Well, I have to admit, they're not exactly scheduling the easiest opponents either.
So what?
Okay.
I'd like to see him win one.
Well, it's early.
I mean, they lost to James Madison.
True. I'll give you that one. But I mean, the rest of their schedule.
Yeah.
Besides, I think Izzo likes to see how many losses he can have with a team and still go to the Final Four.
I do think there's some of that there.
See, it's an advantage to being fat. See, you're sitting here, but you're fat, so your shirt kind of rolls up into different levels, almost like steps. So when you're eating the chocolate chip cookie and a part breaks off, one of your steps can catch it. It doesn't fall to the floor. You catch it. And you just reach down, you pick it up, you keep eating. God, my thumb. I've got arthritis or something. I don't know. Maybe I got carpal tunnel. I don't know, but it's my thumb. It's swollen here, and it can be quite painful, like to the point where I can't play golf. I've tried. When it flares up, I can barely hold a pen. So I don't know. First thing that's bothering me.
So the text line didn't work yesterday because we obviously didn't pay a bill or something. It's working today. That's nice. Begged Marty to call me yesterday. Called him. He just doesn't seem to want to talk to me. I mean, I've got this casino willing to spend money for us to do a show on December 11th. It would be kind of nice if I could talk to the boss.
Well, unfortunately, now I'm in Jersey. They just confirmed.
Fine, I'll do it alone.
They just confirmed it last night.
So how would that work? I'd be here, you'd be there, and David would be.
Yeah, you'd just get it all. We'd both be on StreamYard.
That'd be cool.
That's how we will be in. That's how we will be when I'm in
When
Pittsburgh
you're
too.
Yeah, Christmas. Okay. All three of us in separate locations.
That's how you keep a marriage fresh. Working with two guys who've been married 38 years.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"21 minutes after the hour. Top of the morning to you. What a show we have lined up. And we're not, existing in that turkey fog, man. We've had our naps. We've shaken it off. David Samson joins us at the top of the hour. Bill Bender to talk college football. Anything going on there? Yeah, I don't think so. Pat Kirwan to talk all things NFL. Nothing ever happened in that league. And Alex Golesh, the South Florida head coach. We think the AAC Coach of the Year. He's going to call into the show in a couple hours. I mean, we are bringing it this morning. Yeah. But we also tackle the big questions of the day. And we will do so. I think, Mark, we have a poll question. I think it's done.
All right.
Mark, there was a major development yesterday in the sports world. Major. In the state of Florida, in fact. No, it doesn't have anything to do with, a team. It's a title sponsor, Mark. See, there are 43 bowl games, and Cheez-It actually sponsors 2 of them. Not anymore. There's a game on December 28th in Orlando. It will kick off sometime between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. It is no longer the Cheez-It Bowl. After a terrific 3-year run, after Dabo being dumped with a Gatorade bucket full of Cheez-Its.
The Cheez-It rooms, the hotel rooms that were with the Cheez-It bed and the Cheez-Its, it looked like a big Cheez-It. It was fantastic.
Well, Mark, they can go even bigger because the Cheez-It has been replaced by the Pop-Tart.
Ooh.
The Cheez-It Bowl is now the Pop-Tarts Bowl. And I know for some of you, that's a guest. And I know for some of you, that's like, oh, wow, that's fantastic. And certainly for members of the media, it's like, oh, wait, we get free food for covering another event? This is fantastic. Mark, I just say we leave it up to the peeps, who I know love being called the peeps. Cheez-It Bowl, Pop-Tarts Bowl. Which do you prefer? There you have it. That's our question of the day. Because we know if we ask you something, how do you think the Dolphins have already won the AFC East? That's kind of the reaction. We ask you something like this. Oh, my goodness.
I don't know. We had reasonably strong voting yesterday with which was the stranger play, the 4th and 31 or the 99-yard pick six.
What one, by the way?
The 4th and 31 going away.
Okay. So
75%. But
really?
Good response.
Huh.
Yes.
I'm surprised at the margin. That's all. So, and I will say they do not tell you which flavor of Pop-Tart. It's the Pop-Tarts Bowl.
I could see that room, though. The room to me, and I'm probably going to catch heat for this, but I'm a frosted blueberry Pop-Tart. That's my go-to Pop-Tart, the frosted blueberry. Okay. I don't want the chocolate. I don't want the brown sugar cinnamon.
Oh, stop right there. That's my go-to right there. Okay, so we will be either opposite wings of the hotel, or we will be in completely different hotels, because I am in the brown sugar cinnamon. I would say to them, do you have a brown sugar cinnamon room? No. Well, then I'm not interested.
I have a couple tidbits of information for you guys regarding this matter. So apparently there's going to be an edible mascot. Did
Yes.
you hear about that?
Yes, an edible mascot.
An edible mascot. And for what it's worth, the mascot looks like the classic strawberry Pop-Tart. It's the white frosting with the multicolored.
Nothing wrong with a strawberry
sprinkles.
Pop-Tart. Coming second in my world, right behind the blueberry Pop-Tart.
Oh, wouldn't touch either one. But okay. An edible mascot. You sure that's not going to get in trouble somewhere? I mean, it's secondary
That might be at one of
sponsor.
those swinger clubs down in Orlando as opposed
Exactly.
to the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Right. I mean, this is, we're kicking off before 6 o'clock. I mean, this is a family show here.
Is that edible underwear, or are you an edible
Exactly.
mascot?
I mean, and the Pop-Tarts Bowl brought to you by Edible Arrangements. I mean, what are we doing here? What? Okay. So there you have it. Cheez-Its or Pop-Tarts. Whatever you do, please do not answer with Cheetos, Fritos. No. Come on. There's two choices. Actually, you have to pick one. Okay, suck it up and pick one.
If you had to choose one college football coach to hoist the Pop-Tart, who would you pick?
Kirk Ferentz. Even though the Big Ten's not in the game, I just, because when you think fun, you think Kirk Ferentz. No? Well, it's an
I
edible.
could see, Nick wouldn't play in that game, but I could see Nick breaking down the Pop-Tart. Well, you see here the Pop-Tart. Defensive.
Actually, come on, let's be honest. And what's the game? Isn't it like Big 12 ACC? Something like that? I don't think the Big 10 or the SEC is involved in the game.
No.
But this is where, God bless his soul. Wouldn't you want Mike Leach in the Pop-Tarts Bowl?
That's why I asked that question, honest to God.
The late Mike Leach would break down. He could do 20 minutes on Pop-Tarts.
Totally. That would be the presser. Leach would sit down and go, I was kind of excited. I thought we accepted an invitation to the Cheez-Its Bowl, but I get here and find out it's a Pop-Tarts Bowl. And he would just go, it'd be glorious.
You got your cold Pop-Tarts. Some people eat them right out of the package, and
right.
Some people toast them. You got the frosted, you got the unfrosted. I mean, yeah, he would.
It'd be amazing. Friend of the show, too. Yeah, we love Coach Leach. So, yeah, that's for those hardcore college football shows, that's actually your poll question. You come up with like 3 or 4 coaches. All right, who do you want to see hosting the? And is it a Pop-Tarts trophy?
I think it is a giant Pop-Tart.
Should just be a toaster.
A golden toaster.
A toaster and like 3 boxes of Pop-Tarts and call it a day.
Now, I'm going to catch a lot of grief here. I have no problem eating Pop-Tarts cold.
That's all right. Most people don't.
Okay.
I'm not going to give you grief for that.
All right. I didn't know.
That's the one beautiful thing about the Pop-Tart. If you're in a hurry and you don't have time to toast it, you can grab that sucker right on the run.
Yeah, it's like a breakfast pastry. Although some flavors are much better toasted.
I mean, Mark, I don't want to give you a hard time. You said the one beautiful thing about a Pop-Tart. Do you know how many beautiful things there are about a Pop-Tart? Oh, I digress. But there's so many good things about a Cheez-It, too.
Well, there's nothing bad about it either way, David.
No.
You got breakfast and a snack here in Orlando.
Right. I mean, can't we still keep Cheez-It somehow associated? I mean, we can start with the Pop-Tarts, and then, by the 4th quarter, you need a snack. I don't want to be one of those golfers having a healthy banana walking down the 14th. I need some energy to make it to the finish line. Hey, Bjorn, give me that banana.
Bjorn?
I was just...
Somehow the Europeans are healthier than we are, and they're going banana, where John Daly needs a lung dart.
Yep.
A bowl of Cheez-Its.
Yep.
And
Woozy needs a Foster's. Right. Okay. I got Bjorn giving somebody a banana. So I'm sitting here with my Diet Pepsi, Snickers, and chocolate chip cookies.
And Thomas Bjorn's getting thrown under the bus because of the name.
Lucas Aidberg is about ready to conquer the world, and Bjorn's handing him a banana on 14.
Starting five is next. Thanks for listening right here, Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd, with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Combos were radical, Paul. That was a radical invention at the time.
I didn't cook it long enough, fam. I had to put it back in the smoker, but it was fine when it was done. My thermometer tricked me. I don't know if I was touching a bone. I don't know what the problem was.
You gotta be bleeping me. All right. Don't you have to invite Seinfeld as like the honorary, Grand Marshal or whatever, honorary captain to the game? And right before the coin toss, he does his little his Pop-Tarts monologue. Now, you see, guys, how about this little show? Hope somebody's impressed. Maybe a listener or two.
Adam, is that true? If that's a true stat, and I'm not saying you're lying, but if that's true, that's crazy.
Listen, Adam's got some tremendous trivia.
The strawberry Pop-Tart is the third highest selling item at Walmart. I believe that.
I don't.
What do you think it is?
Wine.
Beer.
Well, those probably don't count because it's like
not every. You just said the third highest selling item at Walmart.
Yeah, but not every Walmart sells booze. So it's, you know what I mean? It's kind of like a cheat code. You can't really.
Wow. Is the poll question up or no?
No.
Mark's
How
like,
are- how are we
it's
phrasing
your,
it?"
it's your effing question, Moulton. It's not mine.
Exactly. How do you
Mark-
want me to phrase this question?
Mark wants no part of it.
We don't have to ask it. I just thought it'd be a funny segment. Johnny Yo sent us a text. The angry Vikings fan on social media. See, social media doesn't. Everybody's angry on social media. You're not allowed on social media unless you're angry. It's like a requirement. Nice of David Samson to like our tweet promoting the show that he's on. So
Always
nice of him.
does. How about the Bruins losing 3 in a row?
I know. How about the Sabres wrecking the Rangers last night?
With 5-1?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. It's a little cooler in Florida today than it was yesterday. That's why I'm in Minneapolis, to make you feel better about yourselves. It's 7. It's 7. It was 8 at the start of the show. It goes down before it goes up. It's 7 degrees. We've gone from Aikman to Elway so far during Miller and Moulton. A very intense debate. I thought it would have gone up at least a degree, because last segment we brought up a major sponsorship change in an Orlando Bowl game in between Christmas and New Year's. And people are fired up. The Cheez-It Bowl is now the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Which would you rather have? Oh boy, them's fighting words.
So really time of the day. Right now, I'd rather have a Pop-Tart. Because, see, I like to eat meals when you're supposed to. You would probably pick Cheez-Its right now.
Oh, man. If it's a brown sugar Pop-Tart, I think brown sugar Pop-Tart would win. Any other Pop-Tart, it would definitely be Cheez-Its. Not even, like a buddy of mine just texted me, how about the s'mores? No.
Why is everyone else's idea said in that voice?
I don't know that that's entirely true, but there's enough truth to it.
S'mores? What about
Well, it was also the way it was text. I mean, sometimes you can just tell. They ask you, what about s'mores? I mean, you can just tell by the text.
What about s'mores?
There's enough truth in that comment, though, that it's pretty damn funny. Sometimes you got to be able to laugh at yourself. Whether it's Pop-Tarts or Cheez-Its, you decide. It is time for
The starting 5 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
Listen, the really good thing about Monday Night Football last night was that it was 2 hours and 50 minutes. Whoo-wee. That was stylistically not a good-looking game. But it was close throughout. I mean, nobody led by more than 6. Bears kicked 3 field goals. Looked as if they were going to put the game away. Justin Fields decided, no, I can give this game away. Not 1, but 2 fumbles. Vikings said, thank you very much. Took one of them, went down the field, scored 10-9 Minnesota. They're going to win. And then the Bears said, we are not going to do this again. We are not going to dominate a division opponent on the road and throw the game away late. We're going to win this time. And Fields with a little running, little dinking, little dunking, and then when they needed one big pass play, bang! And Santos kicked his 4th field goal of the game with 10 seconds to go, a 30-yarder, and the Bears won. Matt Eberflus finally won a division game.
They had lost 12 straight division games.
12-10, Chicago. They're 4-8. Yes, it affects their draft status with the 1 pick. The other pick's Carolina. What are you kidding me? You may start making your plans now. 1st, 2nd pick at worst. Vikings, however, fall to 6-6. And they got, I think, a bye week coming up. And O'Connell, the head coach, after the game, he said, yeah, we're going to consider everything at the quarterback position. Because this just in, Josh Dobbs threw 4 interceptions, and he should have thrown 6. 2 others were dropped. Just flat out dropped. He was
2 of them weren't his fault. 2 of them hit receivers in the hands and were tipped to defenders.
Well, one of them, yeah. He threw a little fastball and the catcher couldn't handle it. And it went to the backstop. That's true. But he was not good.
No.
Mm-mm. But I find it interesting. He has 1 bad game. And O'Connell's sounding like he's ready to bail on him. But that's a big loss for the Vikings because now they're tied in the loss column with the Packers and the Rams and the Saints for the final wild card in the NFC. And the Seahawks went, great, 6-5. We're now the 6th seed, which we'll need with our schedule coming up.
Is 8-9 going to be the last wild card in the NFC?
Could be. Never mind the fact the right 8 and 9 might win the NFC South. We may have 2 below 500 playoff teams in the NFC.
All right. Division winner NFC South, 8.5 right now. Over under.
Oh boy.
I'll go under. Without hesitation.
See, here's the thing.
I know Carolina's in the division.
Well, besides that, the Saints and the Falcons play the final game of the regular season in New Orleans. Do you think it's possible one of those 5 and 6 teams right now could get to 8 and 8 before that
possible
game? Oh, boy, I don't know. 3 out of 5 seems like a lot for those teams. They're not very good.
They're not, David.
No, they're not. And speaking of the NFC South, we have not. See, the league got rid of Daniel Snyder, and they needed a new wacky owner.
They have one. He's in Indianapolis, but he's now got a running mate, David.
Well, yeah, Jim Irsay does qualify as wacky. He does, but he's not as wacky as the guy in Carolina. David Tepper is his name, right?
Yep.
Woo-wee. So, remember, he fired his coach early last season and replaced him with Steve Wilkes. And all Steve Wilkes did was right the ship and go to Tampa late in the season and have a 4th quarter lead on Brady and the Bucks, where if they had won the game, they would have won the division. And he did it with Sam Darnold at quarterback. And he said, nah, this guy can't coach. I'm going to bring in Frank Reich, who the other wacky guy in Indianapolis had just whacked. And Reich put together a terrific staff. Deuce Staley is assistant head coach, the running backs coach. Josh McCown, who's very highly thought of in league circles. Hell, people were ready to give him a head coaching job before he had ever been a quarterback's coach. He's one of those guys when he played that all the other coaches said he's going to be a coach. Yeah, Tepper fired them all yesterday morning. Frank Reich at 1-10, McCown. Because what you want to do when you draft a quarterback first overall is you want to fire his head coach and his quarterback coach 3 months into his career. Especially since both guys played about 30 years in the league, too. That's what you want to do. It's good for development. Yeah. Special teams coach Chris Tabor is the interim head coach. Jim Caldwell is a senior assistant on offense. He's going to assist the offensive coordinator who remains, who's now going to call the plays. They're 1-10. If we set the over-under on wins for the rest of the year for Carolina at 0.5, which way are you going?
I'd go over. They're going to win one more game.
Okay, so 1.5, you'd go under.
Yes.
Okay. I think I might go under, actually. I don't know. This has got Frank Reich, by the way, gave a very real interview to the Charlotte Observer afterwards, in which he said, yeah, I'm devastated. I'm crushed. This is probably it for me. I don't know if I can coach anymore. This is, oof. It was a very real interview in the Charlotte Observer there. Other NFL news. So the Dolphins are going to sign JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul. The Saints signed him 2 weeks ago to their practice squad. And you can, if you want to take somebody off practice squad, if you're going to put them on the roster, you can do it. You can't put them on your practice squad. You got to put them on a roster. Well, with Jalen Phillips blowing out his Achilles, the Dolphins looked around and said, hey, JPP's from South Florida. Maybe he'd be interested in playing a home game for the rest of the year. JPP went, sign me up. So he's got nearly 100 sacks in his career. He helped the Bucs win a Super Bowl a few years ago. So Dolphins are going to sign him and see whether or not this is an Ndamukong Suh signing of last year by the Eagles or whether or not they're signing an over-the-hill guy who can't play. We'll see. The Raiders cut cornerback Marcus Peters and safety Roderick Tanner. Bengals Joe Burrow had wrist surgery yesterday. They say all went well. Mark, I just have a question. Have they ever said, well, as a matter of fact, we got in there and
it went horribly. He'll probably never play again. No.
Right. I've never heard that one either. The Texans claimed former Eagles defensive end Derek Barnett off waivers. So there's that. College football, the Gators fired a couple of defensive assistants, Corey Raymond and Sean Spencer, the secondary and defensive line coach. Canes need a new quarterback. Tyler Van Dyke's transferring. So's Corey Flagg. Emory Williams, the only remaining quarterback with experience on the roster. And Syracuse, Mark, is targeting Georgia defensive assistant. He focuses on the DBs, Fran Brown. He's a Jersey guy. He's worked at Rutgers and Temple, so he can recruit that area. So that's who they're zeroing in on. He's a young guy, early 40s. NBA, LeBron set the record. He's played more minutes than anyone in NBA history. He's going to have, I think, every record by the time he's done. He's pretty good. But the Sixers beat the Lakers by 44. Portland beat Indiana in Indiana, 114-110. Listen, it's a good thing that the guy who owns Carolina in the NFL doesn't own the Detroit Pistons because I don't know if their new coach would last much longer. Detroit had 2 wins on the year. They hosted Washington, who had 2 wins on the year, and they lost at home. That's bad enough. They lost at home by 19. That's not good. That's not good.
No, and they paid this coach a lot of money to come take this team over.
They did, like 7 years and 50
$12 million a
million.
year, I think. Yeah, he's the highest paid coach ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
So, well, so far it's paying dividends. Utah edged New Orleans 114-112. And, I left this one score. I went to bed right before Denver and the Clippers was finalized. So I'll look that up and tell you who won.
I'm not there for you. I've got it for you. Denver beat the Clippers by 9.
Thank you. Appreciate that. College hoops, only one game involving a ranked team. UConn beat New Hampshire by 20. Hey, Delaware's going to join Conference USA. Why? I don't know. They're actually a kind of not a power, but a force, a threat in the FCS. And they're in the Colonial, and they don't want to do that anymore. They want to play football at the highest level. Miller and Moulton have discussed this for years. Why don't you want to be nationally ranked and a contender in the playoffs at FCS? You'd really want to play in the Bahamas Bowl that badly? Really? College basketball polls: Purdue's number 1 in the men, South Carolina number 1 in the women, Miami 8th, and FAU 13. Hockey: Sam Reinhart 2 goals, Bob with 20 saves. Florida shut out Ottawa 5-0. Buffalo beat the Rangers 5-1. Bruins have lost 3 in a row. What the heck? Columbus beat them 5-2. Avs over the Lightning 4-1. And Calgary edged Vegas in overtime 2-1. I think that's it. I mean, it was, that time
Pretty
of year.
thorough.
I don't know if anything else had happened. If it did, well, trust me, you guys will tell me. And at 9 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Yeah. So you got that going for you, which is nice. David Samson coming up in about 10 minutes. Bill Bender coming up in about 45 minutes. Talk all things college football. I will say I was doing some R&D in the press box. Believe it or not, Minnesota's college football country. I mean, they're getting over the fact they had to give back the axe to Wisconsin over the weekend. They're annoyed about that. And so I was asking people, Florida State, they win, are they in? And, at least in the upper Midwest, the people that I sampled, they're like, yeah, 13-0, of course they're in.
There it is. The Minnesota Nice, 13-0, they're in.
Right.
I did R&D around Southwest Florida yesterday.
Okay.
And the people that I talked to think they agree with you and I that they should go. I talked to a lot of people that don't think they're going to go.
Unbelievable. Is that just how cynical we've gotten, or? I mean,
4 best.
Oh, please stop it. This is not computer rankings. This is not 4 and 5-star signings.
Florida State would be in, David. The computer would be able to figure this out because there's a donut on one side. It takes humans inside of a room with the phrase 4 best to really screw this thing up.
Got to get rid of that word. Well, it's the last year of it. So what are we going to say? 12 best now? Really screw things up some more? Best. Who the hell knows what's best? Well, actually, we do. David Samson's coming up next.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill
Is that true?
next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, David.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I am great. Thank you.
Well, I knew you were doing great when you worked horse hockey into a tweet.
I can't remember which one, but it really was.
Sonny Gray for $25 million.
Oh, please. Because of the great culture.
Right.
And the great nightlife.
And the awful airport. But anyway.
Golly. Just give me some honesty one time.
Well, remember, Mike Hampton went to Colorado because of the schools.
That was my trade. He would not come to us because he wanted to win a World Series. And then we won it that year. And he did not even make the playoffs. He demanded to go to Atlanta after failing in Colorado. Ah, memories.
Those are good ones, though. Those are stick-it-to-you memories.
I will never forget that phone call with Mike Hampton. David, I just don't feel good about your team's chances this year. I'm willing to go to Atlanta. Okay. The owner said you're going to trade him in our division to get Juan Pierre and Tim Spooneybarger. I said, yep, here we go. Got lucky. Gave me a few years of credibility.
And now look what you've done with it.
Right down the fucking toilet.
you have a good holiday?
Yes, hope you guys did too.
Yeah.
Hosted 20 people both Thursday night and Saturday night.
Whew.
It was
A
something.
lot of people.
Yeah, it was something.
A lot of catering.
Here we go.
Exactly.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And at this day and time, we love the fact that we welcome David Samson to the show. He of the Nothing Personal with David Samson daily podcast weekdays. He does it live at 8 a.m. and he fits us in on Tuesdays before he starts recording. You can follow him on Twitter/X at David the letter P Samson, David P Samson. A belated happy Thanksgiving. Hope you had a good holiday. How are you?
I am great. Thank you. Yes, it was nice. Hope yours was too.
Listen, you contribute to our show. I don't know if we contribute to you at all. Take this with you to Levitard at some point this week. The big story of the day, the Cheez-It Bowl in Orlando is now the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Okay, and so you have to decide which title sponsor is better. Never mind the fact you have to give us your favorite flavor of Pop-Tart.
Well, first of all, you get to eat the mascot at the end of the game.
Right.
And that to me, I can't even imagine how I didn't think of that with Billy the Marlin, that we could have done like a fish fry after yet another loss. And we could have started that trend of eating mascots only after a loss, like one bite, the way they ripped a puzzle piece off in the movie Major League, except they did it for wins. And as for Pop-Tarts, I am a brown sugar cinnamon Pop-Tart guy without toasting.
Yes!
You feel vindicated now, don't you?
Oh, I'm on top of the world.
Are we alone in that?
No. There are plenty. I frosted blueberry. So you broke the tie.
I'd have to almost be starving in the desert like Saul Goodman in Better Call Saul to eat a blueberry Pop-Tart.
Wow. That's
bad, how
huh?
desperate I'd have to be. I don't like blueberries because I don't like the fact that the skin can get caught on your teeth and you may not be able to find it fast enough, and then you're walking around with a head of lettuce on your teeth all day. So I don't like that feeling. And now that I have no taste, I certainly don't eat blueberries because what's the worth? You're just risking teeth issues.
Do you even like to eat anymore? I'm serious because you don't taste it. This would be the only way I think I could lose weight.
You'd be surprised. So I always viewed food as just a gas station where I'm just gassing my body to do the things I like doing. So it's not crushing to me the way it would be to a chef. And I tried being very healthy the first couple weeks, maybe a month, but then I started craving all the stuff I used to love. And now my brain just tells me that I'm eating it, so I enjoy it. I had pizza last night, and I just don't, to me, it tastes like pizza, but I don't taste it.
Is this still from COVID?
Yeah. I did a whole show with Pablo Torre called Pablo Torre Finds Out. We did an hour on it, and we did a hot sauce challenge last week where the famous Hot Ones guy sent the hottest sauces that no one can eat, and I ate it without a problem. And it was, Pablo almost got sick on the set. He wouldn't even taste the hottest one. After two, he almost literally threw up, and I blew through all three like no one this guy had ever seen.
Any repercussions after? That seems like nothing.
Hoop burn, of course. What do you mean? Just because you can't taste it doesn't mean that your body differentiates it.
Oh.
And good morning, everybody.
Thank you, and hell again, and welcome to Miller and Moulton in our weekly segment with David just blow fire out your tuchus, Samson.
I want that on my tombstone, I think. He blew fire out of his tuchus. Here lies David Samson.
Well,
All right.
once again, you want us to get merchandise. Maybe that's a T-shirt. Like, guests include David, blow fire out your tuchus, Samson.
I don't know what you guys have in mind to talk about today, but I just have one quick question that we don't rehearse this for all of your viewers and listeners.
No, it's obvious now we
This
don't
is
rehearse
just,
this.
We get on the air and start talking. What's on my mind today that I can't get rid of, and I'm going to talk about it in about 55 minutes here on Nothing Personal. I want to start now. This deal with Sports Illustrated and AI. That's a very serious issue going on where there are allegations that Sports Illustrated was using AI and they made up bios and they made up photos. And I don't know if you saw this yesterday in the news. It's a big story. And it makes me wonder already. I have to ask my producer, Matt Coca, before I tweet anything or talk about anything, is this real? Because I've gotten caught a few times. And now I have to wonder, are you guys real? Because AI is so good that people can get completely screwed, and it's becoming a very big, big deal.
Well, it's already, in the radio world, program directors are being eliminated because AI can do their job for them, so they don't have to program music. Now the writers and SI possibly have been compromised by this. So, David, you're right. I don't know how long it is before someone's going to try an AI broadcast.
Well, the whole strike that just ended, SAG is voting next week on whether to end the strike, but the writers and the actors, that whole strike, a lot of that strike was about AI. And if you're producing a movie or paying for something and you can have AI do the job of a person, there's no benefits involved, there's no HR issues, there's no lawsuits, and the work is ostensibly the same. It's the equivalent, but people have not framed it this way, and this is how I've been thinking about it in my brain. When assembly lines went automatic, it was a very big deal because jobs were lost and people were angry and upset, yet it was more efficient and it was made the items better and cheaper. So I'm trying to figure out whether or not this is really going to happen because people couldn't tell the difference in the articles. And just like people can't tell the difference in a car or with your products that are now done on an automatic assembly line versus a man-made assembly line.
Is there a way that you could run a sports franchise and use this to your advantage? Because let's face it, you're all trying to get, you make a trade. You just want to win the trade. You don't have to win it big. That'd be great. But if every deal you make, if you're making your team incrementally better, at some point you wake up and you got the best damn team.
So here's how it started with analytics. We had an analytics department and we would use it alongside our eyes department, we called it. People who actually see somebody, see a player. The analytics, they never look at players. They never talk to players. And the way trades used to be evaluated is that our GM would speak to our head of player personnel and speak to people in scouting and development, read scouting reports, and then decide which players we'd want. Then the analytics department would present a analysis that we are trading blank for blank. And they would assign values to each player. Sometimes it's wins above replacement, but that's just part of the formula. But anyway, values would be assigned. And if you're trading away 12 and getting back 8, the GM would say that's a bad trade because the analytics people would say you can't do that. You do 12 for 12 or you trade 8 to get back 12. And so analytics became a big part of trades. And I believe that teams have gone too far. And there's, Brian Cashman talked about it this offseason. Don't think that we only do analytics or don't think we do no analytics. And I happen to think it's right to use everything. But I don't see a world where only AI would run a team because for me, it's so important to be in the clubhouse and engage with players and know them and have a better understanding of what they will do in certain situations on the field. And that's something numbers don't give you.
And I know this may be a long shot, but AI can't really judge chemistry in a clubhouse, whether a guy can play in a big market. I mean, there are so many other factors to every sport, but I would think baseball more than any because of the nuance that you're limited in what AI and analytics can do for that matter to every situation, right?
So the reason why I don't like baseball to be analytically driven is that baseball for me is a game of failure. And in analytics and with robots, there's no failing. It is the exact same outcome. Given the exact same inputs, you get the same output all the time. So you're talking about heartbeat, or you're talking about chemistry. I'm talking about the brain. I'm talking about why sports psychologists are so important. If it's AI, you don't need sports psychologists. There's no mental health issues because there's nothing to think about. You're literally robotic. But baseball is such a mental game. Think about the best hitters, and of course you've talked about this on the show. Can you imagine a job where you can fail 70% of the time and be one of the best at what you do?
Right. If you do it for right, if you can fail 70% of the time for 10, 12 years, you're a Hall of Famer.
Think about that statement. You are a Hall of Famer. What other industry? It would be like you guys having bad numbers for 7 out of 10 years and not growing, not improving, and your GM just says, no problem, keep going. You get your mic. Failure is not acceptable in any of our businesses off the field, ever. Yet in baseball, it's the biggest part of the game is the failure.
You do know how many jokes you just created for the two of us, right? Because we both in our heads right now have come up with 3 or 4 shows that fit that criteria, but for various reasons, anyway. David Samson, nothing personal. He'll record it in 49 minutes. Okay. It's David blowing fire out his tuchus, Samson, by the way. It's new T-shirts. It'll be available.
Letter P has been replaced.
Right.
Yes, it has.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you made a comment about NC State and NIL. Do you happen to have a solution? Okay, because like we have Gary Danielson on the show. He thinks, he's for the athletes getting something, but he thinks that now it's just too wild, wild west. Miller and Moulton are in favor of athletes getting something. We got about a minute or so, but how do we rein this in?
Well, you all got what you deserved. This is exactly what was going to happen it's just free agency in college.
Right.
That's what NIL created. And so people go to where the money is, and that's exactly normal. And if that's the market you want, that's fine. But one of the unintended consequences is exactly North Carolina State, where now they're crowdsourcing. You want to have a good team? Then you better give me money. And what's funny is that we do that with professional sports, but we hide it. What we say is if you want a higher payroll, we're going to have to raise ticket prices. Except fans don't necessarily look at it as though it's correlated the way we do when we operate a team. But for me, the NIL rules, 5 years from now, they're going to be completely different than they are now because this is going down a path that absolutely nobody wanted.
Well, but David, it's $1 billion industry. How could it not eventually become in America free enterprise?
Excuse me, I'm fine. If you want it to be a free enterprise, then don't root for a team. Wow, excuse me. Free enterprise means that you can't decide where you're going to play until that particular year. And you do 1-year contracts, maybe 2-year contracts, or are you saying the players can sign 4-year contracts and that's their college? How do you want to play it?
It's David Samson. I think we have another topic for another show.
It's important to talk about because the portal has become a thing where now they're asking fans to fund the portal activities. I absolutely find that unacceptable.
He's David Samson. He's going to record Nothing Personal with David Samson in 47 minutes. Thanks for listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Hey y'all, it's Ben Allen. When it comes to singing and performing live shows, I'm in my comfort zone. When it comes to wanting to surprise my wife with diamonds, I'm a bit lost. That's why I go see my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. Jason and Todd helped me blow my wife away when we got engaged, and I've been applauding them ever since. If you're in the market for diamonds this holiday season, Southwest Florida has been giving Jason and Todd a standing ovation for over 20 years. Go see them and let Jason and Todd know that Ben Allen sent you.
Thanks, Ben. We're proud of you and your accomplishments and thrilled that you are part of our Diamond District family.
This holiday season, visit Jason and me at the Diamond District. We look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you see the referee in the Panthers game last night gave everybody on the ice a 10-minute misconduct?
No.
There was a little scrum. He called 2 minor penalties, and he did everyone on the ice.
Oh, wow. So that was
10 times.
Put everyone in timeout.
Okay, it was Robert Morris and Jacksonville last week in men's college basketball. 6.5 minutes to go in the game. Timeout on the floor. Teams are walking to their respective benches. 2 players, one on each side, kind of get into a bit of a scuffle. The one guy throws a punch or slaps or what have you. Everybody on the benches comes off the benches and kind of mulls on over. Now, nothing happens. Referee comes to the scorer's table and says, technical foul on each player, technical foul on each head coach. All the players on the bench are ejected for coming off the bench. The teams will play the rest of the game with the 5 guys that they had on the floor at the time of the scuffle.
Do you remember when Alabama, I think it was a couple years ago, had to play a game with 3 players?
Yes. And that almost happened here because Bob Moe had 2 guys get 4 fouls and Jacksonville had a guy with 4 fouls. And the game almost went to overtime.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is it's always interesting. So, sucks for the team, of course, but it's always fun to watch.
Well, wasn't there a couple years ago, didn't the team that was down a player nearly win? This little guy kept hitting threes.
I vaguely know what you're talking about. Yeah. I feel like it never happens I mean, obviously it never happens at the pro level, but it happens in college probably once a year. One of those teams has to play a man down. But there's always some weird thing involved. It's like a whole bench ejection, or it's like a sickness hits the team and you got like 5 guys out or something like that.
Or it's Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Coach Grizzle, because I know you're not in the market. Yes, Ben Allen is big locally. I'm not sure exactly why the Diamond District went for him for an ad. He was on The Voice. He's a good local country band. People really, really like him. But it's an interesting person to pick to do a commercial. For just the reason you said, because not everybody knows who the hell he is.
But he sounds famous. Good enough.
And no, we don't ever. I should step away from the camera the next time I do that. I was trying to catch the rest of David's story and go fast, and didn't need to show that to people.
What, taking your sweatshirt off?
My gut, the shirt came up with it. There's a lot of gut that went on camera there.
People are calling you out, huh?
That's fine. I'm fat. I don't know what to tell you.
David says we're his favorite guest segment of the week.
How many does he do?
I don't know. But can't we just, bask in the glow? We'll ask him next week. We'll challenge him on it.
The place to be.
We'll challenge him on it next week. But we'll let it go for a week. We'll head into December. Hey, it's still 7. I will say, when they say a room temperature is like this, just pick a number, 72.
Oh, 7 degrees. Okay, I didn't know what you were talking about
Yeah.
when you said it's
72 degrees in Atlanta. The room feels very different than 72 degrees in Minneapolis.
Yep, sure does.
Like 72 in Minneapolis, you feel a draft come through the room. And you go, 72, huh? Huh. I don't know.
All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Bill Bender of the Sporting News. He'll join us coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Pat Kirwan joins us at the top of the hour. Alex Golesh, the South Florida football coach, will join us a little more than an hour. Took a team that won 4 games in 3 years and is taking them to a bowl game. He's got our vote for AAC Coach of the Year. Don't know if he wins that or not, but he'll be on the show in a little more than an hour. We're fired up about that. Bears beat the Vikings last night 12-10, and the game sounded just as much fun as that score would indicate. Yes. Woo-wee. Big loss for the Vikings, though.
Huge. Now 3 in the loss column behind Detroit. They play them twice before the end of the season. They thought maybe they had a little something. I think we had crowned the Lions division champs quite a while ago. Last night, I believe, assured us of being correct with that prediction, David.
And now you wonder, will Minnesota even get to the playoffs? They were the 6th seed before last night, but now, Seattle's the 6th seed at 6-5. They got 3 losses on their schedule the next 3 weeks. They're at Dallas, they're at San Francisco, and they host Philly. Seattle could go from 6-3 to 6-8 here pretty quickly. So if you're the Rams at 5-6, if you're the Packers at 5-6, who have a loss on the schedule this week with the Chiefs, we'll see what happens. But after that, they play a bunch of teams with losing records, except for one. And then you got the Saints even. Hell's the second place team in the NFC South in it at 5-6.
Stop it.
Hey, come on now. You're the Mr. 8-9 guy.
Well, maybe the loser of New Orleans, Atlanta, tied at 8-9 gets the wild card. Maybe the game means nothing to one of those two teams.
Well, so do you guys both have an 8-9 team making the playoffs?
I think there could be 2.
Okay, so if the Vikings are going to be one of those teams, because they have 6 wins right now, they go at Vegas, at Cincinnati, the Lions twice, and the Packers at home. So they only have to win 2 of those to get to 8-9. So if you think a wild card team could be 8-9, it's going to be Minnesota, looks like.
Well, if you had to circle a game right now, how big is it's Green Bay at Minnesota, or is it Minnesota at Green Bay?
It's Green Bay at Minnesota.
You circle that game right now. What's it, second to last week of the season, something like that?
It's on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, okay, third to last week.
No, second to last week. He had it. I saw December 31st. I got excited.
Gotcha.
The game's supposed to be in prime time.
So, you could circle that game right now. That one could be winners the 7 and, losers done.
Yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting to play the schedule game with Minnesota real quick because they have 6 wins already.
And I like the schedule game probably more than anybody on the planet. But realistically, to play the schedule game with anybody in the NFC that's mediocre is a bad game to play.
Let alone one that doesn't have a set quarterback situation.
Because these are 500 teams. We don't know what they're going to do. Minnesota just lost to the Bears.
Now, the other part of it is, we think for whatever reason that the 6s and the 7s, whoever they're going to be in the AFC, have a real shot in their first round playoff game. I mean, let's be serious here. I mean, the Eagles right now are the 1, the Niners are the 2. I mean, do we really think a 7 seed in the NFC is going to give the Niners a game?
No.
Now, the interesting one is who ends up as the 6, because right now Detroit's the 3. And let's face it, they haven't done anything. They haven't won a playoff game in over 30 years.
Really a good team. They beat a depleted Kansas City team week 1. Weird things happen week 1.
So, but also they're the Lions. They haven't won a playoff game in 30 years. Hey, the same thing's going to be on the Dolphins. And the Dolphins could go on a run here, end up 13-4 even. Could have a gaudy seed. They're going to enter the playoffs, and everybody's going to go, they haven't done anything. I mean, they haven't. They've accomplished nothing in January. Are we sure we're going to bet on them now? It's the same thing with the Lions. The Lions are going to enter the playoffs. They're going to be a great mystery. No matter what they enter the playoffs as, everybody's going to go, can we really count on the Lions?
Well, it's why, and the same thing will be said about the Jags. The same thing will be said about the Ravens to a certain extent, because Lamar's he's been injured. So we don't know what to expect.
Well, honestly,
now that's interesting. You feel that way about the Jags? What they did last year did nothing for you. They did win a playoff game. They went very hot down the stretch to get to the playoffs, gave the Chiefs a really tough game in the divisional round. So to you, the Jags are still a question mark.
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
They're improving. I like what they have going on, but
their playoff win last year was against Mark's Chargers, and it was in a very fluky fashion after a horrendous first half, excuse me. Just playing devil's advocate.
Wow. Mark's Chargers.
Oh, sorry, I forgot they got divorced.
Did you see what he did there?
Memories.
I mean, man, I mean, you were very loyal. You were very faithful in that relationship. I don't think you should be tarnished by that relationship. I thought, Mark, you were the better part of that relationship.
The way we were.
But wow, Mark's Chargers.
It's already a habit. I'm sorry. It's already a habit.
Trent, they got divorced, and it wasn't Mark's fault. Okay. I mean, depending on the state that you're in, certain states, they give you limited reasons for divorce. Other states give you a wide variety of, Mark ultimately filed for divorce. Why? Lack of support. Depending on the state, that's a valid reason, depending on the state. All right.
Time now for our play of the day. Trent, what do you have for us?
We will once again go to David Moulton's booth, as we so often do on Tuesdays. It's 10-9 Vikings over Bears. We've had 6 turnovers up into this point in the game. Someone's got to win, and it's 3rd and 10 with 55 seconds left. Justin Fields stepped up and made probably the biggest throw of the game.
Fields lets it go. DJ Moore has it down inside the 15. And the biggest throw of the night at the biggest time for Justin Fields. 36 yards to set up Chicago.
Field goal goes in. There's still 10 seconds left. Minnesota gets a couple plays off, but nothing to write home about. The pass to DJ Moore sets up the game-winning field goal. Bears win at 12-10, move to 4-8. Vikings drop to 6-6. And like we just said, biggest takeaway for me, the Lions are now 3 games up in the loss column in the NFC North, and it's looking like they might win this division for the first time, not only since my lifetime, but since it was the NFC North. They haven't won it since it was the NFC Central.
That's right.
There's a first time for everything. And that is your play of the day. From 7-degree Minneapolis, where David Moulton still waits to come back to sunny Jacksonville.
I will say, I mean, and this is a good hotel too, but you can feel a current. You can feel a breeze in the room. You can.
And it's not a summer breeze, David.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a little, for whatever reason, you set the room temperature, you get out of the shower in the southeast and it's the same temperature. It feels warm. You're like, oh, wow. You get out the same temperature here. Wow, it's cold. I need a robe. What's going on?
Did they provide you with a robe in that room? Is it that nice a hotel?
Of course. Yes.
I can see you going with your cookies and soda lounging in the robe in the room.
I have never put on a hotel robe, ever.
You don't
Ever.
know what you're missing.
Apparently not. Okay. Cold brown sugar Pop-Tarts, that's my A-list. A hotel robe, slippers, I'll pass. Crumbs on the belly? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, crumbs on the belly.
Bill Bender covers college football for the Sporting News. He joins us next. Thanks for listening right here, Miller and Moulton.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
On the belly. Crumbs on the belly. See, and then you just kind of roll over and brush them off on the floor.
It's not your house.
I tip well.
David, do you drink just regular Pepsi?
No.
Which one do you drink? There's like 8 kinds nowadays.
Well, I try to drink the zero.
Okay.
I try to do the ones with quote unquote no sugar, but a lot of places don't have them.
Yeah, that's true. When you're out eating or whatever, you gotta order whatever they got. So does Bill cover He just covers national college football. Is there a team or a region that he focuses on?
More Big Ten, because that's where he's out of Ohio.
Nice. Love the Big Ten.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, Adam, no kidding. And it happened the week that I was playing against Bijan Robinson in fantasy football. So that sucked.
About time. I needed every one of those points.
You've got Bijan? Yeah. He balled.
First time all year.
Arthur Smith. This sounds absurd, but the Panthers don't. Would you maybe just let Bryce Young pick the coach?
No.
I know you would never do that with a
No.
young quarterback, but come on, what are they doing?
No.
Well, then
No.
what? They can't pick
Tom,
the coach.
Tom Brady gets to pick the coach.
I
What
guess
is-
the point is you spent the number one pick, you moved all that capital, and
He
you're already
doesn't
moved
know
on.
how to play the position yet. No.
You can't just
Hell-
clear everyone though. 11
Well,
games.
Brent, at this rate, I don't know if we should let the owner pick the coach.
That's what I'm saying. Who's picking that? Who's making these decisions?
The
If you're going to give the
owner.
keys to him, you
The
might as
owner.
well do it sooner than later. Yeah, I'm
I'm
calling.
done with this guy. The problem for the owner is now he's looking like such a whack job that there are going to be some really good coaches that go, no, I'm good.
Thank you.
No, I'll just stay here. How about the story yesterday that Greg Olson of Fox is interested in the Panthers job if they consider him? No, KW, I think it's the other way around. I think Greg Olson is interested if Tepper
Yes.
would consider it.
Bill is on the line.
Good.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's moving the chains. He will join us at the top of the hour. Alex Golesh, who's done a terrific job in his first year at South Florida, he'll join us 1 hour from now. Bill Bender is kind enough to join us. It's been a while. Terrific national writer on college sports with a focus on football for the Sporting News. You can follow Bill on Twix, Twitter/X at BillBender92. BillBender92. Bill, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. Hope you had a good holiday. How are you?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on.
Listen, we wanted to have you on for a bunch of reasons, but the first thing that we thought of is where you are based. Home is in the state of Ohio. And so there's going to be a lot written and said about, the outcome of the Michigan-Ohio State game and what is it Ryan Day and the Buckeyes have to do now. As somebody who can feel it almost from where you live, all right, how is this loss going over?
That depends on who you ask. It's not as severe as I thought it might be, honestly. And I say that because I lived here during the Cooper era where Ohio State would win every game and lose to Michigan. And they were 2-10-1 against Michigan from 1988 to 2000. I thought it would be more severe knowing that they lost and the implications and all those things. But when it comes down to it, we can nitpick Ryan Day's decision to punt. We can nitpick Ryan Day's decision to lay up for a field goal. But when you really come through that game, it comes down to what he said afterward, running the football and the 2 turnovers. And as I've told everybody that wants to listen, then they don't, Michigan was just a little bit better. That's my thesis on that game. Michigan was just a little bit better in that game.
Has Ryan Day, however, gotten the team tough enough? That was the criticism, and I thought you think your assessment's right on. Michigan was a little bit better. It was Ohio State was driving before the last pick. So is Ohio State tough enough now? If that was their Achilles heel heading into the season, did they fix that?
Yeah, I mean, their defense, you might not believe it when I say it out loud, but you give up 30 points, their defense still played well. You know, they controlled the game early. They were given a short field on the first touchdown. That they played well, but the catch there is Michigan scored on every drive in the second half. Michigan had 3 field goals and was able to run 7 minutes off the clock and win in a way that was very Michigan. So, yeah, I think they are tough enough. I don't think there's anything wrong there. It's just in that matchup, in my lifetime, sometimes one coach just has the other guy's number. And I'll go right through them real quick. Lloyd had John Cooper's number. Tressel had Lloyd's number. Urban had Jim Harbaugh's number. And now Jim Harbaugh / Sharon Moore has Ryan Day's number a little bit.
Going forward, and of course, rosters can change dramatically year to year in college football now more than ever. It would seem, though, as if, like Michigan, this team is like the peak, right? They're going to lose the guts of this team. I would think if I was a Buckeyes fan, I got more in the stable heading into this offseason for next year than they do, right?
Yes and no. I mean, Michigan's going to lose a lot of guys to the NFL and some key leaders like McCarthy and Corum. But, I mean, they got Kenneth Grant. They got Mason Graham back. They have a kind of termed it like a sweatpants culture there. Guys that just go to work. And they aren't flashy, but they get it done. And then Ohio State, yeah, they probably have more talent, but still have a quarterback question. Are they going to go to the portal? Are they going to go back to Kyle McCord for another year? They still have, offensive line questions. They're going to lose Marvin Harrison, Emeka Egbuka. They're going to lose their entire receiving core. Like, they'll have got talented guys behind them, but Marvin Harrison. So, yeah, Ohio State will have more talent, and I see where you're coming from with that question, but I don't think Michigan's going away.
If Florida State wins against Louisville, no matter how they do it, in your estimation, are they in the playoff?
100% in. Because I don't think the committee can find a justification for leaving a Power 5 team out of the playoffs. They can try, and they'll try tonight on the ranking show. You kind of heard it last week, didn't you? Grit laying the groundwork for trying to say, hey, we'll take the one-loss Texas over Florida State, which, if we're honest about betting spreads and those kind of things, Georgia would be favored by more points over Florida State than they would Texas. We don't play the game by point spreads. We play the game based on results. And if Florida State wins and is 13-0, I see no way that they're not in the college football playoff.
Well, this is our last year of this system. And as you wrote last week also, it's the last year of potentially, like the Michigan-Ohio State game could change going forward. There's a possibility now they could play in back-to-back weeks. I don't know if any of us think that's for the best. Going forward, are you bullish on the next stage of college football?
Oh, I don't like it. I do. Again, yes, I'm going to answer a lot of questions yes and no, I have a feeling, in the next year. Because, yes, it's good to have it's like what I do with my wife when she says, did you clean the house? To be like, yes and no. But it depends on how, so for me, it's more teams are going to get more opportunities. It's more football. I'm never going to complain about that. But I feel like when I'm doing you guys' show next year, we're going to be sitting here, well, who's the 11th and 12th and 13th team in the rankings? That's not what college football is. It was about, the elite teams. And I always point back to the BCS. As much as people ripped on it, how many times did they really get it wrong? Not many. I mean, for me, and it's the same way in the NFL playoffs for the most part. I want to see the two best teams in the Super Bowl, and I want to see the two best teams in the college football playoff championship.
Yeah, next year we're going to have a discussion. Is it Penn State or Ole Miss, Bill? Who do you think deserves that last spot? And that's probably where we're going to be with this. But for this year, we're going to get 4. It's going to be a great 4. And actually, this is probably the year that 12, without the conferences, it does take away from this. I mean, 12 with all the conferences the way it was right now with Oklahoma and Texas in the Big 12, this would have been a hell of a 12-team playoff, Bill.
No, it's and like kind of a 12. If they would have done it this year and had all these send-offs, because it's Oklahoma and Texas in their last year in the Big 12. You just said it. My editor was telling me, we were talking about this yesterday, how awkward are some of these handshakes going to be this weekend? It's going to be incredible. Tony Petitti may have to hand a trophy to Jim Harbaugh, who he just suspended. Brett Yormark in Texas. Oregon and Washington are not going to be in that conference. Florida State was talking all summer about leaving the ACC. Now they may go win it. And we were kind of laughing about this. You know which commissioner is just going to be sitting with his feet up? Is Greg Sankey, because he's got one end, I got a team that's won 29 games, and on the other, I got the guy that's the greatest coach in college football history. He doesn't have an awkward handshake at all.
By the way, would you make the case if Georgia were to lose that they should be in, or would you just say, you know what, sometimes bad breaks, pick the wrong year to lose the wrong game. Sorry, you're out.
Well, I mean, there's scenarios where they could both get in, but I have an article coming up here in a little bit, and I'll have to send you guys. But I kind of sketched out all those scenarios, and then the one where Georgia loses, they'll probably not make it if the chalk wins around them, and that's weird. But again, I'm anxious to see on the ranking show tonight what they say about that, like that possible scenario that Georgia loses. Georgia and Michigan in particular, before I went out and kind of sketched out all these scenarios, there was like 9 or 10 of them. I would have said they're locks to make the playoff no matter what, but that's not necessarily the case, because this is the first time in a long time where we've had all 5 conference championship games have a lot of value.
Alabama wins. Are they in, or is Texas in, Bill? Just if it's 2 12-1s, we get Michigan wins. You got the winner of the Washington-Oregon game. You got Florida State winning. Alabama or Texas? Who goes?
Texas should go, but I can tell. I just feeling and like that they throw out all logic and reason and try to, because they should go on the head-to-head, because that's always the best way to decide those things. But I could see the committee, pointing to resume or Jalen Milroe's market improvement, or, they'll figure out something, to put Alabama in. And I think Alabama would end up in that spot, even if I believe that Texas should be in that spot.
It is difficult when you say it, both scenarios out loud. So 2 teams end up 12-1. The one team beat the other, yet the other is going to go. But the other way to say it is, are we really going to leave a 12-1 SEC champion out of the playoff? I mean, you can phrase it however you want. They both sound silly.
Right. And Texas probably knows that on some level. That if you're rooting for Texas and you're trying to get in, you're rooting for Georgia to win. You want to avoid that argument on some level, I think. You're rooting against Florida State, because the second Florida State loses, that's the easiest door for Texas to get in, which is a weird rooting guide for some of these games, but that's kind of how it works.
Bill Bender, the Sporting News. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X at BillBender92, BillBender92. Gut feeling, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, the new Big Ten next year. How well do you think the West Coast teams do going forward? Or do you think that, the Big 2, Big 3, if you count Penn State, will still dominate? Or do you think, oh, no, we're going to have some change in the air?
Well, I think talked to John Jansen, the former Michigan tackle, last week, and he had an assessment of them, and I agree with him. He said Oregon's probably the most ready to come to the conference because they have a game that's going to, Oregon-Washington or Oregon-Michigan in a playoff matchup. That'd be a dangerous game for Michigan because of the way Oregon plays with their tempo and liking to run the football and, those kind of things. It'd be an awesome contrast in styles game. So I definitely think that's worth watching. USC, UCLA, Washington, they'll be all right. It increases the middle. It rids our lives of this entertaining yet ugly Big Ten West football that we watched all year, because some of those schools will actually have to raise their game instead of getting to 6 and 7 wins by playing ugly football against each other.
I mean, doesn't this eliminate most of the West from ever playing for the current West from ever playing for a Big Ten championship, Bill?
Probably. That was one of the drawbacks. And, Urban Meyer and I had a conversation about that last year, that he said, right off the go, you are cutting 50% of the conference out of the conference championship. And he's right. I think we can agree that 9 or 10 teams won't see that game. Purdue got to play in that game. Northwestern got to play in that game twice. I think everybody but on that side of the division, everybody but Minnesota and Illinois has played in the Big Ten championship game. And then in the East, of course, everybody but Maryland, Indiana, and Rutgers. Well, now that number is going to go up because you're adding 4 teams and probably a couple good candidates, at least with Washington and Oregon right off the bat, and even USC.
Bill, we always appreciate your time and your insight. Continued success with the sporting news and safe travels along your journeys, and hopefully we can talk before the playoff.
Hey, that was a lot of fun, guys. You have a great weekend, and thanks so much.
Bill Bender, the sporting news. Bill Bender 92 is how you follow him on Twix, Twitter/X, Bill Bender 92. Pumps out a lot of material on a weekly basis. He works every day. Good stuff, Bill Bender.
And cleans the house.
Well, yes and no. That's a great answer.
I can relate to that.
I think there's a few of us listening who could.
Wife asked me, "You going to clean the house this week?" Yes.
Yes.
And then I turned around and went, and no.
That's probably the biggest yes and no answer of all time for a married man. Did you clean the house?
Oh, Trent, there are so many yes and no answers to married
No,
questions.
that's a big. Is that not a big one?
No, actually,
not really.
no. That barely rates actually with some of the
Did you
questions.
stop with
we
your
get
friends
asked.
and have beers?
No. Yes. You going to be out late? No. As you're closing the door. Yeah.
There are a lot of yes and no answers. It's just when you need to use them.
Right.
That's important as the learning continues for young Trent Valley.
We're raising another one, aren't we? We're raising another one.
Pat Kirwan. He raises us to be NFL fans, and he's next on Miller and Moulton.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come
Pat,
down
I
and talk
think
to
your
one of our
mic's rubbing.
experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know.
How's
If
that?
you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Does that sound better?
It does, yes.
Nothing like a little piece of tape.
How you doing? How was your holiday?
Full of football.
I know it was.
It's all good.
What was the takeaway from the Prime or the Black Friday game, Pat?
Locally, they love that there was a game to go to.
Yeah.
So a lot of people just in their normal jet complaint mode weren't complaining as much because they had something to do, not called shopping. So they were like happy.
I actually think the league should give the Jets the game. I do.
I think it should be a touch later.
3 o'clock's too early.
For me,
that's their loophole on that Friday night football stuff. There's still playoffs going on, even in like Jersey.
Oh, it's big day.
They're not allowed to be on at night on Fridays. And by going on at 3 o'clock, they say could have the game done by quote unquote sundown, 6 o'clock, and the games were starting at 7. So that's their problem with that.
Gotcha.
They liked it. And the crowd was into it, as bad as they are. But right now, it's DeVito's hometown, baby. Everyone's in the DeVito mode. When they heard yesterday that they're going to put either Jones or Tyrod back on the field, people were going nuts. They don't want any of those guys back. It's really hysterical.
Mark and I have a hard time. We read Steve Politti's column at NJ.com, the Star Ledger columnist, and before DeVito's. Had he beaten Washington yet, or he had just beaten them?
It was Tommy DeVito, or is it Vito de Tommy? Everybody in Jersey knows a Tommy DeVito, or is it Vito de Tommy?
Yeah, as a Danny DeVito at times.
Yeah, very funny column.
It couldn't be funnier when you capture the moment of who he is, how he behaves.
Yep.
All of his gestures. It's so North Jersey.
It is.
That comment about if you're nervous, get a dog. That was the greatest.
I mean, he can't play, but he's got the total attitude.
Well, now he's dominating Jones and Tyrod in stats. There's where they're all headed. He is 1 touchdown away from doubling those two combined. He has 7 touchdowns. They have 4 between them. So now they have real ammunition, stats. And I go, come on, fellas. No, he's better. No, he's not better. But anyway, it's been great fun for me because Jimmy Miller's getting a good taste of Italian New York, New Jersey. He's finding out when the Mafia guys decide to call a show, it's a little different than usual. Yo, Jim, You
Jim,
have
listen.
no idea.
Jim, listen. Okay, listen. I've been watching the G-Men for
Yeah.
50 effing years, and let me tell you.
That's right. If they ever bench this guy or fire him, there could be a real problem in New York. Cement shoes coming up for 2. Marintish. No, it's quite alarming and quite funny actually, because the New York Post has so much more content for the back page.
First off, look at how Brian Dable looks. Okay, look at him, just his shape, his sweatshirts, and then his quarterback is Tommy DeVito. I mean, there is nothing more North Jersey than that coach who looks like that.
John Belushi and the Bada Bing.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the third and final hour along the network. Thanks so much for being with us. The Diamond District bonus hour awaits 1 hour from now for our loyal listenership in Southwest Florida. Alex Golesh, the South Florida football coach, who's done a terrific job this year. He's got the Bulls in a bowl game. We'll find out next week where. We'll talk to him coming up in about 35 minutes' time. Right now, it's Pat Kirwan's time. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh. Good morning, Pat. 12 weeks in the books. We're 2/3 of the way through this regular season.
Yep. Good morning, fellas. And the holiday, the first holiday is over. We're on our way to Christmas from here. But what do I have to say quickly? 16 teams can't score 20 points. So the whole drought on scoring is still in place for most places. And I keep getting asked why. And I keep saying the linemen are bad and injured. The quarterbacks are backup quarterbacks, unless your name's DeVito. And they're not very good. Come on.
Did you really just slide that in there?
He did.
First off, you know where I was born and raised, and you should be reminded yourself, Mr. Moulton. Don't mess with North Jersey, huh?
I spend my whole professional career, Mark, trying to get the North Jersey accent out of me so I can be taken seriously. And who now is quarterbacking the team I grew up rooting for?
Tommy DeVito.
Tommy DeVito.
Hey, and you know what? He's playing well enough that they're not calling him Danny DeVito right now. You know, here's a great lesson for guys like Jim Miller. Mark already knows all this, but for Jim Miller, who never really understood the Northeast, he never understood why so many people in New Jersey and New York love Dan Marino. And they all saw him as, they saw him as the Italian god, if you will. And so they loved him. If you watch how many Dolphin fans are in, it's because of that. And now this kid DeVito comes along. And now, as I said to you guys earlier before we went on, now they got stats on his side. It's not just him and the loyalty, it's the stats. He's one touchdown away from doubling Jones and Tyrod. And when they announced that one of those two guys will start when they come back, holy hell broke loose in North Jersey. I'm telling you right now, they want to keep this kid on the field, and they want him right next to their coach, who sometimes reminds them of John Belushi. So it's really hysterical to see the combo.
It is. And, Pat, you mentioned all the low-scoring games and why. And you mentioned linemen and you mentioned quarterbacks. One's kind of the cause of the other. But is there one that's more visible as to why scoring? If you were to put it on the lineman or on quarterback play, or does it have to be both? Are they just in a combination because of the injuries, Pat?
I think as soon as you have that combination, you have coaches on Tuesdays that have a real hard time making game plans. Yeah, we could do that because that beats that coverage, but we can't block that long. Yeah, we could do that, but we don't have a guy who can get that deep. There's a lot of things going on that are restricting offenses. And this is not to say nothing of how good the fronts are on defense and how athletic they are. So all of that put together adds up. And it's so funny that the league wants scoring and they keep writing rules and things to tweak the offenses, but it doesn't help when it's talent that wins. And right now, many of the offenses are talentless, if you will.
Well, remember a couple of years ago, wasn't the Lions or the Bengals had forget which one had the debate: are we going to take Chase or are we going to take Sewell? And obviously the wide receiver is flashier, and he was taken before Penei Sewell. But with what we're talking about, Pat, if you and I now are building a team, obviously we know you have to get a quarterback. But if you grab the quarterback, shouldn't you then just build the offensive line? That I can figure a lot else out, but I got a quarterback, 9 linemen. I got to find 9 linemen. Then I'll worry about the other 45 guys.
Right. And from making a mistake in that area, you land up with bad backup linemen that have to play. We have a lot of injuries to offensive line. I was talking to Dr. Chow yesterday. Many of the tackles and guards got hurt again this week. So Cam Robinson is going to miss a few weeks. You've got a multi-million-dollar quarterback back there. Your left tackle is going to be out. I saw when the backup went in, he got called for holding. So all of it compounds each other, and it restricts play calling. Now I will say, what's interesting to me is these in-season firings that have somewhat sparked some of the teams. The Steelers are a great example. They didn't change any personnel. He didn't even change any plays. He just decided to, throw the ball to the tight ends down the field, which we talked about on Friday. Tight ends catch 12 balls. Guess what happens right away to the inside linebackers? They can't crash the line of scrimmage and stop Najee Harris. So he immediately put them in an over-under pickle, and they look like a team that can get 400 yards of offense. And so the sparks like that, I'll say what you want about Pierce at the Raiders. They won a couple games, but they're playing really hard. And he's done the one thing he promised, put the ball in the hands of his 2 best players as much as possible. And at the end of the first quarter last week, I think between Jacobs and the receiver, they had 16 touches. I mean, so there's a guy who's just looking at life in a simple way. I don't need a big play calling sheet. I need to get the ball in the hands of my 2 guys. So maybe that's part of the answer to Mark. Maybe we try to do too much on offense. We keep thinking, I know coaches that don't want to repeat a play. They want to go through a game and run 60 different plays. It's ridiculously stupid.
Boy, that's a far cry from the days of old when it was basically same play. I mean, if something worked, you just ran it until they could stop it.
Yeah, and so you look at the 49ers, they'll run the same play out of 5 different formations and 3 different personnel groups, but they still want to run off tackle to the right or the left, whatever the day calls for. So many of these guys, when I see, and some of them are my friends, and I make fun of them, when they hold the big card up, it's one thing to make sure that no one can read your lips. It's another thing when they can't see your face, at all. As you're holding up, as David would say, the menu from the Greek diner in North Jersey.
Hey, listen, Andy Reid, second best coach of his era, but Andy Reid's got a diner menu in front of him. I mean, he really does. It's tough to criticize him, but his menu is huge.
Yeah, but right on the menu, the whole thing in very big block letters, it says Mahomes. That's all he's reading.
And the second one's Kelsey.
Right. Okay, remember Saturday Night Live, no matter what you order, you got a cheeseburger? That's what this is. When in doubt, say Mahomes. Go.
And Andy Reid starting to find a few more players. Rice had a nice game. Pacheco had a nice game. I mean, they're going to have to figure out a way between now and the end of the season to rely on somebody other than Kelsey, Pat.
Yes, and we've been waiting. The 3 of us have been waiting for which receiver would it be. I think we all bet on Rice that he might be the one. Now, doing it once like he did last week and a couple of teasers earlier in the fall, not enough for me to say he's a replacement part for Hill or even Juju last year, but starting to be that guy. Last winter, when we tracked Kansas City heading to the Super Bowl, and they started using Pacheco a lot more when the weather got cold. And it wasn't because it was cold, it's because they saw on tape that there were so many run opportunities. They eventually started taking them. It is funny how we all thought that his coordinator last year was the one who wanted to run the ball. Then he goes to Washington and he's throwing the ball like a lunatic. I think 47 pass attempts a game for the Commanders.
Dolphins signing JPP, forced to with the injury to Jalen Phillips. Do you think that this is like the Eagles last year when they signed Sue, or do we think that JPP doesn't have as much to offer?
No, I don't think he has as much to offer. I think Sue could come into any team in the league today and be basically the most powerful defensive lineman they had. So he still can do it, the dominating side. Now, JPP in a rotation where maybe it's 15 pass rushes a game will be a factor. No one's going to double him or slide protection to him. He should be a disruptor, which reminds me, have you guys ever seen Clowney look as good as he looks right now? There's a guy that you can't count on him, but all of a sudden he is playing extremely well and better than ever. Maybe these guys, they go to Baltimore and something happens to him, but he looked terrific last week. But he's another guy that, if you asked me about Clowney 3 weeks ago, I said, he'll get a couple of rushes and he'll be a little bit of a factor, but he's doing quite well in that system. And I think JPP on a limited basis could be okay.
What if Sean and Denver found out? What if they figured out here? Or is it a little bit of fool's gold with this team? Or do you think that they're actually starting to become someone you should worry about a little bit on the bottom end of the AFC?
I would be worrying about them. I do think that they've hit their stride on both sides of the ball. And I give a lot of credit to the defense. They were a disaster earlier in the year, and they have turned around and playing pretty solid defense right now. And then you look at the other side. I thought Russell, once I went to camp and saw Russell was in shape, it was just a matter of time before that thing got looking good. Now, the stats aren't going to be great with him. He's not going to be throwing for 300, but he's going to move around. He's going to throw to the open guy. He's going to make a play. He's going to check into the right plays. I would think they're dangerous. And that is a question right there. Who is not in the playoffs that I think will get in the playoffs? Of course, you got to take one out to put one in. And I look at that and say, why would I bet against Denver getting in? I think they have a chance to do it. So but the problem is so does Houston and so does Buffalo.
Well, and it's remarkable that coming up in December, the Houston-Indianapolis game looks to be as key as it's going to be. I mean, we all would have just lost a ton of money if somebody had put that before us at the beginning of the year. And Denver's win over Cleveland could end up being a wild card tiebreaker. We'll see how it all plays out. Pat, we have less than a minute before we go to break, but isn't it also the importance of coaching? I mean, that defense gave up 70 points to the Dolphins. 70. They haven't given up 70 points seemingly since.
No, it's, Vance was with me when he first came out of college. Great kid, wanted to be a coach, knew he wasn't going to be in the league very long as a player, has worked at it. So they're better. I mean, we might have some other examples when you think about it. Buffalo-Miami game. Remember that thing? 48 points.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't look like Miami's defense right now.
No. 6 of the last 7 opponents they've held to under 300 yards of offense. He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Move of the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. We have one more segment with Pat. 25 minutes from now, Alex Golesh, the South Florida football coach.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Breaking news for the two of you.
Patrick Kane is a Red Wing.
How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Decided to join the Wings.
Wow. Oh, my Chicago friends are not going to be happy about that.
This is Chelios all over again.
Yep.
I mean, the Wings aren't in the same situation when he joined, but it's Chelios all over again.
Yep.
I mean, you might as well make it complete. Just call Taze up and say, hey, what are you doing?
Hey, anything to get back in the playoffs.
Yep.
Your Blades play Wednesday this week, Pat?
No, they're off. They're not here this week. Next week they're here at 3.
Did the
I wish they were here.
Did the hockey tournaments and watching the grandkids, everything go okay?
Things are going great for those guys. Yeah, the older guys, he's all over the country, but he wanted to play for his high school, which I didn't think was a great idea. But CBA, Christian Brothers Academy, where he goes, they were like, they're number 1 in the state or something. So he wanted, and he made the varsity as a freshman. So he's very excited. But I look at the schedule. The guy's going to end up playing so many stinking games and so many practice. He's going to get hurt doing it. But I told him, be careful. My biggest excitement is my granddaughter. She is heading to Tallahassee for the National AAU Championship. She is the number 1 seed in the 10-year-old division in the whole country.
In what?
In cross country.
Really?
Get this. Do you know anything about running? Because if you do, this will shock you. She
Long time
is
ago, yeah.
10 years old. She ran 11:20 in the 3K, which is a 5:39 a mile for a 10-year-old.
Good gracious.
That's remarkable.
Yeah, she is something. Her mom and her aunt, my daughters, were both college track runners, so she's been around it, but I'm hoping she does great. You never know. They get nervous when they get down there, but she beat last year's national champ by almost a minute. So she got a chance to be something special.
Wow.
They're flying down to Tallahassee on Friday for this meet.
That's
4 connections in a rental car, but other than that, they'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. It's fly to Jacksonville, drive to Tallahassee, You know what I told Ann on the way? Anyone hitchhiking that looks like a defensive back, pick them up and sign them. That's a beautiful area of the country for corners and wideouts. And I spent a lot of time making that drive over to Florida State.
I-10, baby. 150 miles, make a left.
Yeah, that's it. I said the directions are pretty easy. Just drive on I-10 until you see Tallahassee.
Right. And if you go about 200 more miles, it will say Pensacola.
That's right. I should have flown her into Pensacola, but she wanted to go into Jacksonville.
It's actually shorter from Jacksonville, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Like 50 miles.
Anyway, that's the big family news on that front.
That's an amazing time. I mean,
Yeah.
I was never fast at all. I could run for a very long time, but I was never fast. But Pat, that was my time when I was a 14-year-old in the spring as a ninth grader. No, eighth grader. So I was a 13-year-old boy, and she's running that as a 10-year-old girl.
Well, in the boys division, she beat every boy except one. So it's kind of amazing. And she beat the 12-year-olds. So it's fun to watch her, and she likes it. She really likes lacrosse and flag football more, but she's pretty good at this. She's only 10.
You got to have a motor for cross country.
You do. You have to have. You know what? You have to be able to break the pain threshold. And
Yes.
whoever you are, somewhere in the middle of that race, you're going to feel like dog crap, and you're just going to have to bust through it. And she has a little of that pain barrier stuff that's all important in running. So we'll see. My daughter's nervous as hell. Not about her running, about flying to Jacksonville, driving to Tallahassee. That's what's scaring her.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Alex Golesh, the South Florida football coach, will join us coming up in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Our remaining moments with Pat Kirwan. He of NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, 3 to 7 weekdays, 2 to 5 on Saturdays. And then on Sundays, well, he helps produce the NFL Today show on CBS. He joins us once again courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, all points in between. Pinchers, where you can't fake fresh.
All right, with what happened last night, what's going on in the NFC, you ready to buy into the fact that the Green Bay Packers have a legitimate shot to make the playoffs, Pat?
Well, as I said earlier, there's 3 teams in the AFC we could talk about, and certainly we can talk about 2 in the NFC. And maybe the bump outs are more realistic, whether it's Minnesota the way they looked, or Seattle. I don't think you're going to bump out Dallas. I don't think that's happening, but you could bump out 2, and that would make room for Green Bay and maybe even the Rams. But we'll see. The Rams have swept Seattle. That's a problem. But I still don't think they're strong enough, those teams. I do think that at least Seattle got bumped up to 6 with the loss last night. A little bit of insulation for them. You know, their game with Dallas is really big. David loves figuring these things out. If Seattle wins that game, then all of a sudden they have a win over Dallas and they're 1 game behind them. We'll see. I do think Green Bay, to your first question, is really a chance to knock out the Minnesota team, who's going to be on a bye right now. But you can't look like that against Chicago and not score a touchdown. I thought you were going to ask me about the officiating, Mark. How about those guys? You know what grounding is? It was intentional grounding. Do we have that one figured out yet?
No, Aikman said it last night. John Perry, there was an intentional grounding or one that wasn't called late. And John Perry, pointed out the 2 things that you look for. And Troy on the air says, are you sure about that? Because I don't think we know what intentional grounding is anymore.
Thank you. And Troy's all over it. They called it intentional grounding on Minnesota, and virtually the same looking intentional grounding Chicago did, and they didn't call it.
Well, also the Josh Allen intentional grounding. First off, the guy was horse collared. How do you not see it? It's only right in front of you. Secondly, he's outside the pocket. Okay, I don't know what it is anymore. I don't. Is it in the pocket, out of pocket? Does it have to get to the line of scrimmage or not? Is it 1 out of 2? Is it 2 out of 2? I mean, this is starting to become pass interference 5 years ago.
Yeah, let me ask you a radical question. I'll ask Mark. Do you think we should just get rid of the concept of intentional grounding? And if a quarterback wants to throw a ball away to prevent a sack, won't they love that for health reasons? No, I'm not saying I like it, but what if you just said there is no such thing anymore?
God, I hate it, Pat. I'm still disgusted by every roughing the passer penalty that's called all game, because apparently when you hit a quarterback, you're supposed to prevent yourself from landing on the ground. You're supposed to, it's like the magic bullet theory. As you grab the quarterback, you're supposed to somehow prevent yourself from then landing on the quarterback. You're supposed to defy physics.
Yeah. I'm with you. But every time I look at something and I go, ooh, the NFL is going to find a way to philosophically say this is good for football, let them throw the ball away. They obviously can't rule on it consistently. And now is there going to be someone who's going to say, why don't we just let the quarterback, if he wants to give up the down by throwing it into the ground, let him, and that'll prevent more sacks, increase scoring, and prevent more injuries to quarterbacks. Do you think in the world we live in today that they're going to come to that conclusion in the next couple of years, David?
Well, this is the third year in a row where we head into December and we've had 50 quarterbacks that have started.
Yeah.
Okay. 2 years ago it was 50 at this point in time. Last year it was 52. This year it's 50. You would have to think, I mean, the competition committee can screw up this league like no other, but you would have to think at some point, don't they have to sit down and go, yeah, we got to do something about this. We're legislating everything. Don't we have to legislate this? Is there anything more important than our most expensive players being on the field?
No. And last year we did get to 68 starting quarterbacks. So we still have a long way to go and more injuries to come. Here's the point that they're going to look at. Intentional grounding. So the guy's giving up a down. It's 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 10, and he's getting ready to be sacked, and he throws the ball into the ground, and it's not intentional grounding anymore. It's just move on to 3rd and 10. I hate it, but I can see those guys in that famous committee you just referenced at thinking, well, that'll be good for the game. Be ready for something as bizarre as this.
Well, also, Mark, even though, listen, we all hate it. We all hate it. But also think about what it would do, Mark. It would save the yardage lost with intentional grounding.
Right.
So let's just say it's 2nd and 10, and now intentional grounding is likely at least 3rd and 18 or longer. Now it would revert back to 3rd and 10. And what's the league always trying to do? Produce more offense, better chance to convert a 3rd and 10 than a 3rd and 18.
And it also weathers the storm of offensive line injuries. When you got those backups in and they can't block anybody, and here comes the blitz. I mean, there's a couple guys, Sam Howell, how many sacks, but we had a couple guys the other day that had 5 and 6 sacks. They don't want to see that. So when I sit back, and I've been around these guys, I won't call them anything else than that, for 30 years, they arrive at these kind of conclusions. And we all sit there and go, okay, there's no kickoff and return anymore. They're going to limit this, that, and the other. Now this is one that's naturally right in their lane. Look at we hate it, but look at the reasons they'd love it.
I'll tell you what, I'll make this trade. We're going to allow you to ground it anywhere, anytime. We're also really going to start calling in the grasp. That's my switch back to the defense.
Yes.
Sorry, quarterbacks. Josh Allen, sorry. Don't know what to tell you. I know you're 250 and you're strong as a bull. I don't care. It's a sack. Tough.
Well, there was a play last night where they actually called in the grasp, and Fields threw like a basketball chest pass. He's
right.
I saw it, and it's so. I don't want to stay on this subject too long, but I'm putting it out there because I have a feeling this is where we're going to be talking in the next year or so.
Should we stop overlooking the Ravens? Because Lamar hasn't gotten hurt yet, and I got to admit, with the way they're playing offense, for whatever reason, Pat, he's running just as much, but it doesn't seem as if he's taking nearly as many hits. He's either running smarter or running differently. I don't know. Pat, every time he's healthy, the one in the last 5 years, at this point of the season, 4 out of the last 5 years, when he's been healthy at this point of the season, they've been the 1 seed.
Yeah. We can't control injuries, and we know that historically he will get hurt, but I'm with you. He's smarter when he's running with the ball. I think he's throwing just enough that they're not coming after him like they have. And they also structure some blockable run plays for him. They get in the red zone, they run that little power inside sweep when they pull the guards and get in front of him. So, look, I like the kid a lot. And when he said to me, I owe it to this team to play great after the money they gave me, and he was dead serious about it, I really gained more respect for him than ever. Just the way he sees his duty to do this the way they want and stay healthy for the whole season. So I hope he does make it, because he's really quite a good person and he's a tremendous talent. And they're doing a lot with him that's kind of working. Now, I was so excited and interested to watch them play without big Mark Andrews, and they did a nice job of employing other guys more often, and even Likely looked like he can handle some of the tight end duty.
It will be that's the biggest thing. If Likely can play at all, they got Flowers into it. Beckham's playing fine, so I'm with you, Baltimore. But it's all about Lamar and can he stay healthy? He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS Sports, the NFL Today Show, and Pat joins us twice a week, courtesy of Pinchers from Tampa to Key West. Pinchers, where you cannot fake fresh. Pat, as always, thank you.
Take care, fellas. Always good talking to you. Spend some time on Friday. Good luck. Have a great week, you two. Make sure you keep working every day.
It's a prerequisite. He works 7 days a week. We try to at least work 5. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, hop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I sent you a text. Go blue, please. Please no, we do not want the NFL to go this route. It's just, if you're the NFL, scoring's down, and 3 years in a row, you've gone through 50 quarterbacks before December.
Yeah, I agree with the text, by the way. I think it's a bit of our Achilles heel sometimes. We get going so long because we do a 4th hour locally that we forget that we're signing off to a lot of our audience. It's like, time for the break. Bonus hours next.
Yep. I actually like the way we ended, though. I've gone back and forth about should we save a few minutes and end the show and then start up again, but there's a part of me that just likes, that's it. We'll see you tomorrow, and for the rest of you, we'll see you in 5 minutes.
Another reason to join the Twitch chat room. Golesh is calling us, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Has all year, so hoping that those are the instructions I was given.
We got a like on our tweet from someone in the USF football department, so I feel very confident.
Okay. See, there you go. I don't know, folks. I don't know what you expect out of a talk show. But just a decent little show today. Never mind Cheez-Its or Pop-Tarts, okay?
We got him.
Cubans leaving Shark Tank.
Whoa!
Well, that show was going to drop way off. Hasn't he been there since the beginning?
Yeah, either that or like year 2, but I like him on the show.
When I've watched the show, I've liked him on the show, and I've not watched very many episodes of it.
I got to admit, even though they're all in business, I love the dynamic at work because they're all in different businesses. I feel like I've learned a lot when I watch that show. Not that I'm ever going to be in business, but it's kind of like, oh, okay, so that's how you guys think. Huh. No wonder I'm a failure. Huh. Like even the women are different. I like the dynamic on that show.
Yeah, they all kind of bring a different.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it a ton either, but when I
one's in fashion, one's in sports and tech, the other's in real estate. I like it. The one guy's a total shark, comes off as the heavy. Mr. Wonderful there. I'll make a deal with you, but I'm going to get a little something for the effort. You're asking for too much. No one else will make a deal. You want a deal or not? Got to pay the vig.
I think it's incredible they're going to all what used to be some pretty big actors to do game shows. David Spade doing a game show, Rob Lowe doing.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 22 minutes until the top of the hour. We've been thrilled all season that Alex Golesh, the football coach at South Florida, has joined us every other week, and he does so now with his regular season in the books. 6-6. They're going bowling. You can follow the coach on Twix, Twitter/X at Coach Golesh, Golesh. Coach, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. Congratulations on the season. How are you?
Doing well. I appreciate y'all having me on. I'm excited that we get to continue to keep playing here.
Listen, how was the incentive for that week? I mean, I know it shouldn't, knowing that a bowl's on the line, but how was preparation for Charlotte, knowing that everything you had accomplished could be amplified with one more win? And obviously you did it. It seems that they had to be very ready for it because it was one of your better performances that we've seen this year.
Yeah, I think I tried to be really real with them really the entire year that we really are in a race against ourselves to be as good as we can, as fast as we can. And each week was its own independent deal. You're in such infancy stages of a program where you're trying to teach the very little detail of everything you're doing, and tried to never have anything in front of them. We started out the year 2-0 in our league, and people started talking about man, things that we certainly were not ready for as a program. And so you try to bring it back down to 1 week at a time. And when you have a young team and you have a team that hasn't won and you're trying to just lay a foundation, none of it was ever amplified into anything bigger than it was when we got to that last week. You know, they knew that this was for a chance to keep playing and for a chance to go to a bowl game for the first time in 5 years and a chance to really put ourselves in a conversation where postseason play becomes a normal part of what we do. And so I was proud of the way they handled it. They worked extremely hard. They continue to work extremely hard throughout the whole year, but I thought it was really intentional.
Coaches always look forward. You took this job, almost a year ago. Can I read your words back to you from 48 hours ago and just have you comment? You sent out a tweet. Beyond proud to coach this team of young men that bought into the process of building something special in Tampa. Thank you to those who stayed. Thank you to those that came on blind faith. We get to keep playing, just the beginning. It's been almost 12 full months. What do you think of when I throw it in underhanded and then read your words back to you?
Yeah, I really just humbled by a lot of it. Saturday will be a year, and it's been a crazy year. It's been, in a lot of ways, the hardest year of my life. And in a lot of ways, it's been the most gratifying year of my life. There's so much that goes into building a program, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to take over a program that needed a jumpstart, needed new life brought into it. And I'm so prideful of doing it in Tampa. I'm so excited to be here, excited about what kind of city this is, what kind of sports city it is. And when I sent that tweet out, it was late at night, and just finally had a chance to take a breath and reflect for a minute. I thought back to that first week here, and we're sitting here having meeting after meeting with guys and some really, really good players that, like, Coach, man, I'm just sick of losing. Nothing personal, but I'm out. And then there was a couple, the Daquan Evans of the world and the Morris Browns of the world and Donovan Jennings that some of these guys I knew, most of them I didn't, that said, you know what, Coach, like I actually believe in what you're saying. And if you do what you say you're going to do, then we're going to be able to flip this thing. And those guys said, you know what, we're going to ride with you. And I feel like my staff have poured so much into these guys just to get them to believe in themselves, in each other, what a team looks like. And then we went out and recruited, and I thought recruited at a really high clip and plugged a bunch of holes of a bunch of guys that left. And those guys that came and on nothing else other than a promise that we're going to treat them the right way and coach them really, really hard. And, just humbled by the entirety of it all. And we still have such a long way to go, but I can kind of rest a little bit better knowing that the expectation's set, the standard is set. Now we just got to go get a whole lot better. And we'll see where we go. But I was humbled when I sent that tweet out.
Looking back, was there a moment, a game, a play that you think turned it around, or was it just a matter of what you've kind of preached to us of the methodology of this, the hard work and continuing? Or can you look back and point to a game or a moment when you felt the players maybe figured it out or bought into what you were selling?
Yeah, I think the Alabama game was really, really big for us here. And, I said after the game, there's certainly no moral victories of any sort. We lost the game, but I thought that the guys played the entire game, especially on defense, with their hair on fire. They played to go win the game. And it was so early in the year that I think we sometimes, forget, because it's a long year. It's a really, really long, grueling process, but they they played to go win the game. We didn't play well enough on offense that day. We certainly played well enough on defense that day. But they played to go win the game. And I thought that was the first time where we truly felt like we can go play to win the game. And, after that, there was some moments where we played about as bad as you could. And there were some moments where we played about as good as you could. And, I think some of our deficiencies got exposed throughout the year. But we at least know what our deficiencies are as we build. And, there's times where we played extremely well on offense. There's times where we played extremely well on defense. And there's times where we just could not match it up to where we were playing well all at the same time. I think back to the Memphis game, we lose 59-50, played as well as you could on offense, still had 2 turnovers, just didn't play well on defense. And then, again, go back to the Alabama game where we played extremely well on defense and couldn't score. And so there are all these moments throughout the season that you say, man, like somewhere we're off because we're just so up and down in our performance that we can't play complementary football. And I thought the last couple of weeks with Temple and Charlotte, we did play really, really good complementary football. The game, I'm really disappointed in is the UTSA game where we were on national TV on a Friday night and just did not play well enough to go win the game. And I said after the game we weren't ready for the moment. And that's what this offseason is about, is getting ready for the moment.
For what it's worth, Coach, the game that impressed me was, we all know South Florida hadn't done a lot of winning the last 3 years. Well, I don't know how many of the guys who stayed had ever won a road game. And you go to Navy in late September and they're up 14-0 like 9 minutes into the game. Well, you guys are done. I mean, South Florida's not coming back. And you guys came back and won going away. And I thought to myself, well, okay, that they believe, how do you get a group of guys who have never done anything to believe?
Really a lot of different things go into it, but the same thing that I've done my whole career, which is just be really honest with the guys, pour into them, love them, but work as hard as anybody you could ever imagine and let them see what real work looks like. Because I think they, one, see it, two, appreciate it, but continue to be really, really honest with them. I told our staff every Sunday after whether we won or lost, I said, just be real with them, love them, coach them harder than you've ever coached them, but continue to be real with them. Just tell them what it is. They'll appreciate it. They may not like it, but they'll appreciate it. And I think we just continue to stay the course there. We're really, really honest with our guys. This staff is here for the right reasons. We're here to teach, to mentor, to love on these guys. And there's not very, very much ego going around within the staff. And I think what started to happen as the year went is that if you weren't all into what real process looks like, if you weren't all into doing the right things off the field, you started to stick out like a sore thumb. And we had to make some decisions in terms of letting some guys go because they started to stick out like a sore thumb and couldn't handle it. But at the end of the day, we just continued to be ourselves and continued to be really, really honest with the guys. And I think young people, just like I think maybe us as adults, all they want is to be cared about, to be loved, and to be told the truth. And in this day and age of college football and the business that it's become, I think that's the one thing that's constantly missing within programs is honesty and truth, like real teaching going on. And we just continued to do that. And I think the guys continue to buy in, and you can even see it through our exit meetings this week here. Like, guys are genuinely happy. Guys are getting coached. Guys are genuinely bought into what we're building. And there's a sense and a level of excitement here right now.
South Florida, They're going bowling first time in 5 years. They'll find out on Sunday where and when. We know you have a busy month. You got to get ready for a bowl game. And, oh, yeah, there's that early signing recruiting thing, which is kind of crucial. So we know you'll be busy the next 3 weeks. Hopefully sometime after the bowl and recruiting, we can talk again.
Absolutely. I'm excited to go finish this class out. You know, we're sitting with the top class in the American right now, the top class in Group of 5 football right now, which, you know, certainly is not the standard. We want to have as good of a class as we possibly can, but recruiting is going really well and we're beyond excited. So I certainly will hop back on when we get done and can take a breath here after the bowl game, after recruiting. And I can't wait to go get it.
Alex Golesh, first-year head coach of South Florida. They're going bowling. And, Coach, have a great holiday season. Stay safe. Be well. Follow him on Twitter/X at Coach Golesh.
Remarkable accomplishment for South Florida. I mean,
yes,
it really is.
Yes. We've enjoyed having him all year. We've enjoyed his honesty. We've enjoyed his, you know, even when they've won, he's like, listen, this isn't the standard. And, you know, he sounds like a guy. This may just be a stepping stone job. But from minute one, Mark, he has talked up about, yeah, we can have a big time program here. Don't kid yourself. So I hope he pulls it off.
Hope he's there for a few years.
Yes. Especially since in 2 years they'll be in the ACC.
With that new stadium.
Yes. We're not joking, folks, by the way. 2026 at the latest. They're going to be in the ACC, and they're going to have their new on-campus stadium. And then maybe UCF will schedule them again. Hey, we got
looking for an I-4 war in a bowl game. Probably won't happen because UCF won't.
No.
And the Big 12 won't let it happen.
No, the UCF's not going to put South Florida on the same stage as them. No.
They're just not.
No. But hopefully, you know, a few years, they're both in a power conference by the end of the decade. They'll realize, how about we do our own version of Florida State? What do you say? Why don't we do the I-4 war again? Hey, we got the breaking news here in the sports world. You know,
yeah, it looks like my Red Wings got their guy. Patrick Kane's going to be a Red Wing. Between Buffalo, Florida, and Detroit. And he's from Buffalo. He loves to golf. Loves to golf. It's between Buffalo, his hometown, Florida, where you can golf year round.
Oh, and they were in the finals last year.
Right. And Detroit.
Right.
And he picked Detroit.
Right.
This is the kind of stuff that gives me hope.
So, great get for the Wings, for all you hockey fans out there.
How's the Blackhawks fan feeling? It's like, really, Chris Chelios all over again 20 years later? Are you serious? Seriously? Of all the damn teams? I mean, the Rangers are one thing. We don't really have a thing with the Rangers. But the Wings? Come on.
I'd be curious what the Chicago fans like today, because that rivalry's not what it once was since they're in different conferences.
I know, it's just a joke.
It's a joke.
Golly. So Patrick Kane, a Red Wing. We'll see. You know, he's had a surgery that a lot of guys have struggled to come back from and be who they were. Nicholas Backstrom going through it right now with the Caps. So we'll see. For those along the network, hell of a show today. You missed any of it, go to floridasportsnetwork.com and download it. Diamond District bonus hours next.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Life Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Johnny, I know you're in there, and I know you love to tweet. We asked you really nicely a couple weeks ago. Pat Kirwan comes out in this show out of the goodness of his heart, without his bosses knowing that he comes on this show. When you tweet at Pat Kirwan and the two of us, you are in jeopardy of hurting our relationship with Pat in his appearances on this show. So I will ask you again to quit tweeting at Pat Kirwan about this show. If you want to lose him as a guest, then keep doing it. Please do. But I asked you really nicely last time, and you don't want to listen. And if you listen to what Pat said, he said the Steelers made a change in coach. We'll see how that works out. He didn't give them kudos. Said they got yards off Kansas City, and he said, we'll see. Literally finished it with, we'll see. But you get a narrative in your head, and damned if it's not the right, if Pat doesn't agree with your narrative. And then you run to Twitter and jeopardize our guests. Like, this is a big deal to David and I.
We've tried
really nicely. Do you get it? Yes or no? I'm just asking if you get it. Yes or no? Just type me back.
We don't give ourselves a lot of credit, but you guys have no idea the lengths we go to have the guest list that we have. And please don't jeopardize it. We work too hard for that.
And Pat's bosses do look at Twitter.
God, that's all the bosses do now.
In media.
They don't have an original thought, but boy, do they look at Twitter. So please don't do that. And if you're going to keep doing it, quite frankly, we'd rather lose you as a listener because you're hurting us.
You're not helping us.
And quite frankly, if you keep doing it, it's as if you're intentionally trying to hurt us. So, we don't deserve that. So we do this mini family reunion during the summer with my wife's side of the family. And now my daughter sends out a mass text to all of us. Hey, what do you think we do like a Christmas in July or late June theme next year? And we do a secret Santa and get everybody, everybody can give somebody a gift. She
Let me
really doesn't
guess.
want.
Let me guess. You're not a big fan of that idea.
She really doesn't want me to respond to this, does she?
What is it? The white elephant? Say we can do a white elephant too. Isn't that what it is? Where you exchange? Isn't that what those are called?
Yeah, you give away something you don't want.
Right. Just start adding, because she'll think you're all on board and you're just being really sarcastic.
And of course, oh, I'm in. I love that idea. Oh, count me in. So, okay, so we can also do a white elephant while we're at it?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
good? Okay. That's what I just I'm sorry. I can't let this lay. I can't have all the women go, this is lovely. This is a great idea.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the Diamond District bonus hour. Miller and Moulton, thanks so much for being with us. This hour, sponsored by Todd and Jason and the good folks at the Diamond District. I don't know. People buy jewelry around the holidays. And so, you may want to check them out. It's only the best jewelry, top of the line at the lowest markups. And they're all professionals, and the salespeople don't work on commission. But besides that, there's really no reason to go and check them out. They don't bring much to the table. No, just Todd and Jason and the good folks at the Diamond District.
I think you got everything covered there.
I thought I summed it up pretty well. A little differently, little different approach, a little sarcastic, kind of end around, but I think I made my point. Well, here's the problem. So
you did that like someone that had a cold Pop-Tart this morning, like it wasn't even warmed up.
Okay, well, first off, if you weren't first hour of the show, the Cheez-It Bowl in Orlando is now the Pop-Tarts Bowl. So that's a whole thing in and of itself. Then we had to get into what flavor Pop-Tarts. Mark's a blueberry guy first, strawberry guy second. I'd rather be stabbed in the neck. Give me brown sugar cinnamon. And no, I don't like s'mores. I like brown sugar cinnamon, and I'll eat them cold. So that was the first major kerfuffle on the show today. Now I've got it. Can you indulge me for a second? So we do a family thing during the summer every year. It's for my wife's side of the family, and we
sure as hell know it's not yours. It's just you and Mom.
Well, it's true. I mean, it's true. And throw in Kathy, and that's about it. So anyway, because apparently we weren't seeing one another, and we weren't.
Didn't you just have 74 people at your house for Thanksgiving?
Right. So I think the group is in the glow of we had such a lovely time.
Oh, okay. When can we do it again?
When can we do it again? And they realize that they look at the calendar and it's not for another 7 months. So now they want to make that special. Hey,
a reunion isn't special enough.
Exactly. And we literally have a mass text where it's like got its own title. It's got a, and so on this mass text, which no text had been sent for 5 months, now suddenly 5 minutes ago, it's like, hey, when we get together, how about we do like, a Secret Santa? Make it like Christmas in July or late June, whenever we're going to do this. And how about, you can get you a gift and you can get you a gift and it'll be great.
David, a lot of people name these group texts, and it could be family reunion on your daughter's phone and on your wife's phone. I have a funny feeling you've titled it eye roll, because I think every time a text comes, there's a definite eye roll out of you before you even think about responding.
I have changed the title on my end. Yes, it's different than the ones that they send out to each other. That has the family name and family vacay in the year. Okay. Right. Mine's a little different. I can't read it on the air.
I'm sure that you cannot.
So, and of course, you know what the reaction is. First off, there's
Very
more
positive.
Oh, more.
Everybody's
Great
excited.
idea. I'm in. Should I bring a tree?
Once again, I asked David, would you rather go by the Grinch or Scrooge? Which one?
Just first off, can I just get through Christmas? I mean, I literally the text I wanted to send, but I didn't, was I'm just hoping to be alive. That'll freak too many people out.
Right. That's
Okay?
you
Right.
can't go there. You've had a health
Right.
scare.
Yes, exactly. Right. I joke about it. I had cancer for 5 days. That it's apparently a really big deal in the family because obviously I had cancer for longer than that. I didn't know. I found out on Sunday morning. We removed it on Thursday. Knock wood, 3.5 years. It hasn't come back. Right. Can't joke about it, which is funny.
I don't
'cause
know why. We joke about everything else in our lives.
And
Why
no
you can't joke
offense.
about that?
It
It's
was
you.
my cancer. Why can't I joke about it? All right. So now we got this. Okay. And so I asked the two of you. I said, I can't send what I want to send. So how do I respond to this? And no, I'm not happy, peppy, bursting with love. We're not kumbaya down the hallway. And you guys said, well, since they're asking for Secret Santas, why don't you suggest a white elephant? And I'm like, okay. All right.
Now
That's
they think you're in, and they probably, because you gave them the idea, that's what's going to happen. Oh, that's a great idea.
Exactly.
And they think that you're 100% serious, and you're
Right.
going to buy,
Totally.
you're literally going to buy a bag of charcoal as your gift.
Next 3 texts, they think I'm in. They think I was just being funny. And they're like, oh, that's a great idea. That'll be fun. Yes, bring the tree.
Maybe your gift can be a box of Pop-Tarts.
That's true.
You know what?
Because you get to take back your gift. I would just get a bunch of, and then you could sit there and eat them and not share.
And
Or Sonny, for that matter.
And let's face it, what do most guys my age do at a family vacation? Sit around and eat. You know, Bill Cosby, and you can't quote him anymore, but when he was funny and he was America's dad, he had a routine in which he said, your job as you get older is you're the goalie. You sit there and eat, and when the kids run to you, you just kick them back into play. Okay, and that's what I do. That's my job.
Outside of cannonball in the pool, and you're all
Right.
set.
That's what I do. Hey, the big fat guy, the manatee's going to jump in the pool. Everybody watch. Boom. All the water goes over the sides. And I go back and sit and have more Cheez-Its. Right. Okay. So I'll take suggestions. As to
a
what
box
else
of Cheez-Its and a box of Pop-Tarts. And don't wrap them, just put them in the bag.
Right. And
I love that you, who really don't embrace the holidays.
I've always
you're not anti-Christmas, but
no, not at all. Love Christmas.
You've worked the holidays. Your
Right.
birthday. You've said your birthday is very close to Christmas.
It is.
So Christmas is not as big for you as it is for others. Certainly not as it is for your wife, who loves Christmas and would have the tree up the day after Halloween if given the opportunity to.
Right. And the fact that she waited to the day after Thanksgiving, the only reason she did was because we were hosting Thanksgiving and the tree would have been in the way. Okay. But once everybody left, you know what my job was?
Get the tree up. Now she has the opportunity to put a tree up twice in a year.
Right. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Women. And, you know, my next text is going to be something along the lines of, as long as Hallmark is not allowed on the television. You know, it's a great idea. There's a suggestion in the Twitch chat room that I should buy an adult gift as my white elephant gift, and it would ensure that we'd never do this again. That's fantastic.
Yeah, you can Christmas letter your way out of this.
This could mean 2 letters, a family reunion summer letter.
In fact, maybe that's what I do. My white elephant is I'm going to read the mid-2024 Christmas letter. Are you all ready? Come on, kids.
Everybody sit around.
Yep. Instead of the campfire, let's sit all on the lanai around the pool. Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. We spend 5 hours together, and they want to kumbaya. It's unreal. I'm glad they love each other. That's nice.
It's cute.
It is. It's cute. It's fun. I'll go back to work. Okay. Miller and Moulton on this Tuesday. If you missed it, and you know what? I kind of hope that you did. You know, you've watched a lot of football over the Thanksgiving. I kind of hope you took Monday night off. Either that or you were like Mark, and you didn't take it off, but the game was so riveting you fell asleep in the second quarter. And then when you woke up in the third quarter, you saw how things were going, and you go, you know what? I'm probably better off we go to bed. 12-10 Bears. Yep. It was just as good as it sounds. Vikings suddenly now have another. That Josh Dobbs era may have lasted 27 days. He threw 4 interceptions and should have thrown 6. They dropped 2, and I mean dropped 2. And I mean both were pick sixes, dropped 2. I mean, whoo. So they're talking about Trevor Siemian. He played that badly. I mean, you know, they're talking about the kid who got concussed and lasted an hour. I mean, that's whoo. And yet the Vikings are still in the playoffs today at 6-6.
And we wonder how many teams under 500 will even make the playoffs in the NFC this year, because the divisional winner in the South could easily be 8-9, and it's gearing up that 8-9 could be the final wild card.
You know, I think you've stumbled on tomorrow's poll question. How many NFC playoff teams will be below 500? 0, 1, or 2?
What's your pick?
1.
I
Don't
think
ask me
you're
which
right.
one.
I think you're right, but I want it to be 2.
0 would be shocking. Are we ready to rule that out?
No.
Yes.
Whether it's a wild card or the
I'll
South
rule
winner.
I'll rule out 0, because I don't think anybody in the South can get to 9. I really don't. The
do.
football is so bad in that conference. I don't think any of them can get to 9.
But even if they do, you've got that quote unquote safety net of the wild card inevitably will be then. Someone's going to be 8-9, excuse me.
You know, here's the thing also, not to make things worse if you're a Bucs fan, because you've got what, 7th pick of the draft, something like that now?
Yes.
Although, did you move up last night?
No, they did not. They are the worst 4-17.
So they're 7th.
So they're 7th.
But man, if you held on to that game against Houston, you'd be tied for first, and you still have Carolina twice, don't they?
Yes.
I mean, man, if you just had stopped C.J. Stroud there in the final 46 seconds, for as bad as you are, you'd be atop the damn division.
The Falcons don't play a team with a winning record the rest of the way.
How about the Saints?
The Saints play the Lions.
Okay. Atlanta's at New Orleans, final game of the regular season. I'm telling you, we're going to end up. That's my pick, by the way. We're all guessing because week 18's up in the air. None of the games have been assigned. The NFL sits down on 6 days' notice and figures out, okay, NBC, you get this one, you get this one. And, you know, and that's how last year we got the battle for the AFC South, Tennessee and Jacksonville. My prediction is we're going to get Atlanta at New Orleans. And it's going to come down to that for the South.
And that one's in New Orleans, right?
It is. It is. So, and Green Bay is hosting Chicago, final game of the regular season, and you wonder, are the Packers going to be in a spot where if they win, they're in? Wow.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Worth.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, Adam, I was gonna ask, Baker did come back, right? But he didn't look good, or what was the case there?
Johnny, I love that you like to continue this on Twitter when we've asked you not to. I did see who the post was to, but you included Pat Kirwan, which I specifically said to you last week to not do. What part of this don't you understand, man? What part? Because Pat's bosses don't like him on terrestrial radio. He's on Sirius. That's why.
Gary's not supposed to come on this show. I mean,
but they do anyhow for us and for you. I don't know why that's so difficult to comprehend, Johnny. I don't. But you're right. We're wrong. You directed that tweet at Good Morning Football, but you included Pat Kirwan.
God damn.
Jesus. But keep fighting with us because you're winning. You've got me completely pissed off. In fact, the next time David's out, Johnny, why don't you come co-host it? Because you're obviously smart enough to do it. And you can book the show, too. Because it's really easy. I don't block anybody, guys.
No, we don't. We feel it comes with the territory. You got to take it. But, I mean, just change the damn channel. If you don't like us, you don't agree with the effing thing we say every day, so just change the channel. But don't. We're desperately just trying to pay the bills here. Just don't hurt us. We're not hurting you.
Barry Gordy's 93.
Doesn't look it. Looks good.
And Gary Hart is 87.
How old's Donna Rice? I actually campaigned for Gary Hart.
I know, that's the whole reason I left this on there.
Was part of a freshman year political science class at the University of Scranton. And we spent 4 days in New Hampshire leading up to the New Hampshire primary campaigning for Gary Hart.
Here we go.
I didn't even know who he was.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour, Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for being with us. Diamond District bonus hour, Florida Sports Network, 6 to 9 along the network, 9 to 10 exclusively in the 239. We got another good show tomorrow. Bud Elliott, Seth Everett, folks from Pro Football Network. FGCU volleyball coach, Matt Botsford. They're in the tournament. They're playing Florida. 3rd year in a row they've won their conference here in the tournament. They won a tournament match a year or two ago. He'll join us. He'll be on the bus tomorrow when he joins us. Should we play the what exit game with him? Hey, where are you?
You mean they're not flying?
Folks, you have no idea how hysterical that is. FGCU student athletes on a plane. That's hysterical. They got $7.31 in the kitty. No, they're bussing.
Hey, speaking of FGCU.
Yeah.
What's going on with the hoop program?
Well, let's see. They're 1-6.
Right.
Which makes them 5-17 in their last 22.
And their one this year is against Ave Maria.
Correct. They are going to enter tomorrow night's game at FIU without a Division I win so far. That wasn't the plan.
No, they were supposed to be better. They were picked to be second in their conference this year.
Right. Top 3 in the ASUN, and they had Indiana in trouble at Indiana in the opener. Right. No, I know.
We're up in the second half.
Yeah. Mid-second half. They're up like 8. Yeah. And then the officials got involved, and Indiana said, okay, we're ready to play now. But and I'm being serious for a second, because obviously I haven't seen them play in person in a year. But I am confused why they're 1-6, but I'm very confused as to why they're so bad in the first half. If you take a look, this would, and next time we have Coach Chambers on, I'm just going to say, hey, bad enough you guys are struggling, but how come you guys are down so much at the half, seemingly in every game? I mean, they lost the game by like 5 or 7. They were down 24 at the half. You take a look at their last 4 games, Mark. How do I word this? Their smallest deficit at the half's been 9. I mean, their deficits, I think, have been 9, 12, 15, and 24 in their last 4 games at the half. My question is,
and they were favored in a couple of these games. So I think they were favored in 3 of the 4. So it's not like they're playing inferior, or that they're playing guarantee games here. This isn't the Indianas and the Pitts. This is against Missouri State. These are teams that they were expected to win.
Right. They were clear favorites against the 2 HBCUs, and the one they were down 24, and the other they were down double figures. It's like, wait, what's going on here? So that's got to be something that, I mean, Pat Chambers is not a first-time head coach. I mean, he coached nearly 10 years at Penn State here. Took a team to a tournament. But, I mean, if we had him on right now, it'd be like, listen, we can get to the 1-6 in a minute. What the hell's going on in the first 20 minutes? Because obviously that's a bad reflection on him and the staff. If you want to blame the players, well, it's the coach's job to have the players ready. And no one thinks they don't have talent. So, it's kind of like, listen, it's like a football team. Quite frankly, it's like the Green Bay Packers were up until a couple of weeks ago. I mean, obviously, they have a guy who can coach. He won 13 games 3 years in a row. But the Packers were arguably the worst first-half team in the league up until like 2-3 years ago. And even the Green Bay media was kind of like, hey, how come you guys can't, score points until the third quarter? What's going on?
Well, Water kind of fine. I mean, they average about 70 points a game, which is par for the course. It's just like David said, it takes them forever to get out of the gate. And their problem is, too, I've only watched a couple games, but they don't move the ball very well. They don't have anyone on their team averaging more than 2.5 assists per game. Like that, most teams have at least a guy that averages double that. They don't move the ball. It's a lot of hero ball.
So, but the first half stuff would concern me as a fan. It's kind of like, are we the other team's scouting reports better than ours? Is it just, the other team more into it at the beginning of the game? Why do we seemingly not ready to play? That would concern me because they play in this. I mean, the one game they were at 24 at the half, they closed it to 5. I mean, it's not like they're just not playing hard, but they're obviously not playing well at the start of games. And it's costing them. It's tough to come from double digits down at the half and win basketball games. It is. So that's the first thing I would want is kind of like, man, I mean, if you're an FGCU fan right now, it's kind of like, hey, could we be tied at the half? Hell, I'd even take down 3.
Well, how about that Indiana game? They were down 2 at halftime.
Well, they were up 8 in the second half. That was that game they actually played well.
Yep. That was their most impressive game of the year, even with the win.
Played decently at Pitt. And the other thing here is that this has kind of been the softer part of the schedule the last couple of weeks. I mean, they're at FIU tomorrow, and then don't they go like Cincinnati, Minnesota?
They go, Cincinnati, Minnesota.
And then at Mercer.
FAU, they play FAU at the end of December. So
right, they've got a couple road games against Mercer and Georgia Southern. I mean, you're kind of this seemingly, Mark, and once again, when you're in a small conference, the conference play part of the season's far more important. But last year, what were they? They had the gaudy record. Non-conference. They were like 11-3 at one point.
Right, and he'll flip that. He'll have if
totally.
it goes that way and he's 11-3 in conference, then everything in November and December was worth it.
Right. So that's another thing. If you're an FGCU fan, you're like, well, okay, maybe can we flip this season? We finished 4-11 the last 15 in conference play last year. How about we flip that around and finish 11-4 in our last 15 this year? How about if we head into the ASUN tournament as a top 3 seed instead of as a 10 seed? So, it's early. It's November still.
No. I got it.
But yeah, there's no doubt.
But they're 1-6.
You can turn it around starting with FIU. That's a very winnable game.
It is. But
they're 2-6. FIU is. Florida Gulf Coast is 1-6. It's darn near a pick 'em.
There you go.
I will say, the one thing that has happened with widespread gambling is that we're finally getting lines on ASUN games on a regular basis.
Yes.
It's all we really wanted, David. I mean, we went from when David and I started this thing to every once in a while, FGCU would play Michigan State. There'd be a line. We'd get all excited.
Yes.
And then conference tournament play would start and we would get excited because there would be a line for conference tournament play. But in between, there was not a whole lot of games in which FGCU had a line that you could bet. They have one now.
And something to remember when the day comes again, FGCU is 6-0 against the spread in the NCAA tournament.
Dunk City.
3-3 and, straight up. That includes the playing game. But 3-3 straight up. 6-0 against the number, baby. And once again, we did mention it yesterday, but if you missed it, hats off to the FGC women. Great win. I mean, to beat a nationally ranked team on a neutral court. And the North Carolina coach, by the way, handled it just as well as Kim Mulkey handled it a couple years ago at LSU. Remember when Kim Mulkey just couldn't
understand why they even scheduled that game.
Yeah, why are we playing this team? Okay, for goodness sakes. And their style of play, this is ridiculous. What are we doing? Are you going to give them any credit? Not really, no. Okay, well, the North Carolina coach, quote, FGCU hit a bunch of shots they don't normally hit. Are you serious?
Paid any attention? They shoot 40% plus from the threes for, I don't know, the last 2 decades.
I was going to say, do you pay any attention to this program at all? Let me tell you, if that's what you think, whoever did the scout for this game should be fired.
And I'll tell you what, if that's the way you think, I hope you get them in a first-round tournament game because they'll do the same damn thing to you.
Totally. Tell you the play that's coming and run it anyway. By the way, you got beat on a layup. Deal with it.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few joy stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yeah, the FGCU, if you think about it, it's like they score 70 points a game. Say that's 30 baskets, 25 baskets, whatever. Only 10 of them. They average 10 assists a game as a team. So it's just a lot of And when you play that way, to David's point, it's like it takes you a second to get into the flow of the game, so you don't start well.
When do they play next?
Tomorrow night at FIU.
Oh, they don't have a home game for a while, then, do they?
No. Well, and I think the one that they
They got
lose-
two bad.
Yeah, not even Division I teams.
Well,
they could have 4 wins going into ASUN play in January.
I don't know. Minnesota stinks. I think they could give Minnesota a game. That would be
Okay.
really interesting.
I think you missed the part where they played an HBCU on a neutral floor and they were down 24 at the half.
Hey, I got you. I'm just
Okay.
trying to be optimistic. Because I've been watching Minnesota for years. Oof.
You ever go to the barn?
No,
It's a tough place to play.
One of 2 Big Ten arenas I never went to when I
The
covered
barn is a tough place to play.
the barn and the rack were the 2 I never got to go to.
Oh, I loved it. It's a dump. So's the
Canada
barn.
Relief. I don't look at any Chicago Detroits as rivalries. I don't think the Bears are. I don't think the Lions have a rival. I know
Yeah.
Trent over there would argue with me
No,
because he
I-
thinks there's some. The Lions don't have any rivals because they suck.
Pistons Bulls is
Piston Bulls was, but I mean that's 30 years ago.
Yeah,
It's 30 years ago.
That's
It was for
true.
a short, brief period of time.
But it's iconic. That little
Yeah, absolutely. Wings Blackhawks was when they were in the same division. That's the close. The Wings Blackhawks is a rivalry. I don't think there's any other one.
Well,
Canada Relief.
you could argue White Sox Tigers too.
How?
What?
They hate
How?
us. We hate them.
No.
It's just a
White Sox and Twins are a rival.
Can I ask you a question? Have
Sure.
the White Sox and Tigers played a key 3-game series in the last 10 years?
well, no, because the Tigers haven't been good. But when
Okay.
They've never played one. Ever, David. Ever.
I don't know that they have either. I'm trying to remember a year in which they were both competing for a playoff spot.
They were in different divisions if that was the case. You know what I mean? This is you're-
08, maybe? I mean, 20.
yeah, again, it just depends what you classify as a rivalry. Because if
a
it's
rivalry.
if it's playoff,
A rivalry.
Yeah.
It's self-defined. You know what it is when you see it. And Detroit does not have one with Chicago teams. The Blackhawks and Wings had one. That would be, if they were in the same division, they'd still have one.
Bears and the Lions.
Well, the Lions thing, like even I would admit, it's the Lions would consider all them rivals. None of them would consider the Lions rivals.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
But if the Lions did have a rival, it's the Packers.
They do share fan bases, particularly in the UP.
Yeah.
You got some people in the UP that are Packer fans. I mean, people in the state of Michigan that are Packer fans.
And it's the fact that every time, at least in my life, that the Lions have been knocking on the door to win
But
the division.
for the
it's
Packers, it would be their third.
Yeah.
Packers would consider the Bears their
totally.
first,
Yep.
the Vikings their second, and then Detroit.
Right.
It's kind of like Michigan State. Michigan State's biggest rival is Michigan. Michigan's biggest rival is Ohio State.
OSU.
But that Michigan State-Penn State game should be really juicy, David.
Well, it'll definitely replace the Iron Bowl in my heart.
Land Grant Trophy, Iron Bowl,
About the same.
Okay, here we go.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is 22 minutes till the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. We are Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening to the Diamond District Bonus Hour.
It is that time to head to the Diamond District. It's the holiday season. Going to score points at home. Head to the Diamond District, see Jason and Todd. Make sure when you stop in the Diamond District that you told them that Miller and Moulton sent you.
And then the good thing is 6-7 months later, you know what you get to celebrate with family? Christmas in July.
Do you think anybody on that group text sent a side text going, like your daughter to your mother, or to your wife, rather? Your daughter to your wife saying, this is going to drive dad absolutely crazy. I mean, do you think
No.
they know they're getting you?
No, they think I'm in. And none of them are listening to the show, which is great. Okay.
Maybe you could have mom come down for the family reunion this year. I'm sure she'd love to join in.
If they're
To a
celebrating
Christmas in July.
Right. Yeah. Hey, Mom. Yeah. Why don't you come to Florida in the dead of summer? We know how much you love that. Okay. And then we're going to bring a tree and we're going to decorate it. Yes, in the dead of summer. And my guess is, since we're doing this, you know what's going to be on TV? Either the Hallmark Channel, Christmas in July, or Home Shopping Network, Christmas in July.
And if neither is on, we'll just go to Netflix and find holiday movies to watch in July.
Right. And then when things get boring, the fattest guy in the room is going to cannonball into the pool. What do you say?
In a Santa costume.
Right. Hello.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Do you know how excited I am for your family reunion?
Does somebody want to go for me? Okay. We'll farm it out for charity. I'll start the bidding at $150.
We start 1814 today. The Times of London is first printed by an automatic steam-powered press, making newspapers available to a mass audience. 1893, women vote for in a national election for the first time in New Zealand. First women to vote in the country. 1895, America's first auto race was organized by the Chicago Times-Herald from Chicago to Evanston and back, 6 cars, 55 miles. The winner averaged 7 miles per hour.
It doesn't seem very fast.
No, it doesn't. Road course.
Always are. But both left and right-hand turns, I'm surprised the cars made it.
FDR, Churchill, and Stalin got together today in 1943 for the Tehran Conference.
It was, but you know what? Every 6 months they'd get together. Hell, eventually they'd meet in Yalta.
Yeah, then they'd finally figure it out.
Well, or FDR die. One or the other.
Today in 74, Bowie Kuhn suspends Steinbrenner for 2 years for his illegal contributions to political campaigns. Also today in 74, it was Lennon's last concert appearance. If you were at the Garden in New York City to see Elton John, John Lennon came up on stage and did three songs with Elton John.
It's kind of like when Bruce just shows up at the Stone Pony and plays his set.
Right. 1975, Bobby Orr plays his last game for the Bruins. 1978, Billy Sims wins the Heisman. The Reds fire Sparky. And Atlantic Records releases Briefcase Full of Blues, the debut album by the Blues Brothers. 1981, Bear Bryant wins his 315th game, becoming college football's winningest coach. And in 2015, Tyson Fury beats Klitschko to end Klitschko's 9-year reign as heavyweight champion.
And no one was aware of it.
Boy, you got that right. Anna Nicole Smith was born today. Barry Gordy's 93. Gary Hart is 87. Paul Warfield is 81. Paul Schaefer from the David Letterman Show is 74. Dave Rigetti is 65. Jon Stewart is 61. And Marc-Andre Fleury is 39.
So I'm listening to Pat's show a couple of weeks ago, and Miller and Moulton receive messages during the show. And sometimes they're well received, and sometimes we get a message. It's kind of like, could you leave us alone? We're doing a show. So I hesitate to send Pat things during the show. But a caller called in, a Browns fan, and he's like, Amari Cooper's the greatest receiver in Browns history. And Pat's co-host has taken the call. Pat hasn't spoken yet. And I quickly text Pat because Jim Miller was sounding as if he was willing to go along with it. And I text Pat, Paul Warfield. Boom. And I will say, Pat did not mention me by name, but we waited till Jim was done. And he said, Jim, I've just received a text. I need to inform everyone Paul Warfield was a Cleveland Brown. Okay. We'll be back right after this. You know, it was one of those. Come on now. Love Amari Cooper. Underrated. Terrible trade by Jerry Jones. They've missed him ever since. Let's keep things in perspective. Paul Warfield. Okay, good.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
Kids are all back in school, right?
So that's a warning. A warning. If you're driving around, that's a warning.
And it's not for the good where we go to Colorado, where a Bernese mountain dog that escaped from her owner in a Colorado parking lot was found nearly 2 months later on a mountain trail. A mountain dog went to a mountain trail. Makes sense. Hikers spotted a loose dog. They tried to make friends with the dog, but it was injured and scared. It bit one of the hikers while he's attempting to carry it down. But after 2 months, it was reunited with the owner. Survived 2 snowstorms and below freezing weather. Lost 20 pounds and needs surgery for her leg, but is safely back home. For the bad, we go to Sarasota, where a woman was digging for shark's teeth. And her excavation site wall collapsed, trapping her under the debris. Happened at night. Fortunately, there were other diggers with her. They were able to get at least part of her out before firefighters arrived to finally get her up to ground level. That just makes me not want to dig for anything. I don't think I want shark's teeth enough that I need to dig a hole that I could fall into and be buried alive. Finally, the ugly. We go to Finland.
What?
Where at a cross-country ski event, the winner of said ski race had a terrible thing happen to him. It froze. Cale Haverson, racing in icy temperatures, told reporters following the 20-kilometer event that he had to take shelter in the warmth after sustaining, and I quote, a frozen penis. He said he had to lie there for 10 minutes to warm it up. It hurts so damn much, it's terrible. The 34-year-old has suffered the same injury before. He added, it's lucky that I'm about to have my second child because it's going to be difficult in the future if I'm going to continue like this.
This is in Finland?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And that is the good, the bad, and the ugly on November the 28th, 2023.
That's probably the ugliest of the ugly.
Oh, not even in the ballpark.
It's a child's play. But not wanting to dive into this too much, but, you know, they have hand warmers, right? Can't you just insert a couple of them south of the border? Am I off base here? I mean,
You know, it's a dadgum good point. How long do those things last for in that skin-tight outfit?
I mean, you know, you're dressed in layers. You don't have them necessarily touching the skin. Wouldn't you, you know, just
Put them between A and B before it gets to C is what you're saying.
Well, yes. I mean, you know, this doesn't seem that complicated, does it? I mean, for goodness sakes, he grew up in Finland. I mean, he's obviously not a aerospace engineer here. I mean, this doesn't seems a problem that could be avoided. I don't know, or prevented or whatever. Okay. Oh,
Canes play Kentucky tonight. And who?
yes, they do. Hey, it's the ACC SEC Challenge, Mark. Canes are unbeaten at 5-0. They haven't really played anybody. Kentucky's what, 5-1, and they've actually played a couple people because they always do. Their one loss was to Kansas in a really good game.
Kentucky's a 6.5-point favorite against the Canes. The 12th-ranked Wildcats against the 8th-ranked Hurricanes.
Don't you have to take the points though?
Yes.
Come on, you get Miami in 6.5. You got to take it, right?
I think so.
Game's at Rupp though, isn't it?
It is.
It's a cool place to see a game. A lot of people. 23,000. It's a lot of people at a game.
I think I
It's
like
cool.
Miami outright.
Whoa, look at you.
I think I don't know.
I got to admit, I think this Kentucky team's better than the last couple. I actually think this team they're athletic, a little more athletic than they've been, play a little bit more as a team. I don't know if they're big enough, but I actually like this Kentucky team. I think they're not going to be like the last couple.
Panthers are on the road tonight taking on the Maple Leafs. The Lightning on the road taking on the Coyotes. I love the Lightning tonight at -120.
That's because you're thinking they're not going to lose 2 in a row.
You're damn right.
Or take it out on Arizona. Hey, Mark, it's a big night in the association because we got 8 games and it's the in-season tournament, baby. And the first round is wrapping up. We're starting to determine who gets to advance and who gets to not. And, of course, don't ask any of us. So let me get this straight. Those that don't advance, what games are they playing to make up the ones that the other teams are playing? Don't ask. Don't know. Don't know. The NBA is actually going to sit down and say, okay, since you didn't advance, how about if you play 2 games against that team that didn't advance? Oh, okay. But the Heat are hosting Milwaukee. Don't ask me as to who's what in what division they're in to advance. I don't know. I know if the Knicks beat Charlotte, they have a really good chance of advancing. By the way, do you know one of the tiebreakers is point differential? It's like soccer.
That's why DeMar DeRozan was all PO'd when someone took a 3 at the end of one of their qualifying games, even though they were losing. The Bulls were down by a certain amount of points, and someone chucked up a 3. I forget who it was.
I remember that. Well, if it's aggregate scoring, you keep scoring.
Yeah,
right.
Here's an idea, Mr. DeRozan. Stop them.
But it plays into the whole point of no one cares about this. DeMar DeRozan, I don't even think he knew it was in-season tournament. He's probably just you don't do that.
Right, because that's an unwritten rule. You don't
Right.
you don't chuck up that 3 late in the game when you're already winning by 17.
These players are wired that way. They're like, why is he shooting this and running up the score on us? Well, it's the in-season tournament, DeMar. I don't care.
I think one of the playoff spots out west is going to be determined by a point. They think it is one team's plus 44, the other's plus 43.
Okay. We have an in-season NBA tournament.
Yes, we do. On different courts, they bring out new floors for the in-season games. They are wild. They're crazy. They're like the NFL rush jerseys that they had 10 years ago.
It's hard to look at.
Yeah, they're obnoxious. They're bright colors. Yes.
It looks like Space Jam. Looks like we're playing in.
That's the pretty good analogy. Something where Color Rush meets Space Jam is about what those floors are. But people, ratings-wise, they're watching.
I know. Listen, the people are watching sports. The football ratings are unbelievable. Even the networks are going, damn. We're paying billions, but damn. But people are watching the hoops. Good. Hey, there hasn't been original programming on the networks, has there?
Nope.
Outside of Survivor.
And a couple of game shows.
Yeah. So, hey, we'll do this tomorrow. Another terrific show lined up. Why don't you tune in? Miller Moulton.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill